Yeah, I mean, I get it all the time, so it's fine.
You're still alive, so it's okay.
Yeah. Although I didn't realize it was like $60 for the bottle. So
Oh, you got the
rest
big
in
boy
peace.
bottle, or like you just paid a bunch of tax
Yeah.
on it? Oh, okay.
Well, because like
You got the
the
party
small one,
bottle
I
just like
guess.
sitting in your house.
Yeah, because apparently I go through the other ones too fast.
Is this a streamer thing? Is that like
I don't know, man.
can
I
we
don't know.
can we how long have you been streaming? Can we cut to a little bit?
Uh, on and off since 2013. Or no, 2012.
2012. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. But then I've been making YouTube videos since like 2011,
When
2010, 2011.
when were the smaller bottles of liquor too small? When did that start happening?
When I turned 21. It's like before then I had to go to this like little liquor store that like kind of did it card, and they would only give me the small bottles because of that.
Monka TOS. Wait, hold on. Are we talking like a 350 milliliter, or are we talking like a $2 shot kind of small bottles?
No, no, like a 350 milliliter. Those $2 shot things I used to steal from my mom when I was like in 7th or 8th grade. Every time I go skating, I'd steal some.
You're the coolest kid I've had on the podcast already.
Oh my god, thank you.
Also, I have some real big fucking questions about. No. You can't buy the big bottle because we have to card you, but we'll give you the small one.
Yeah, because like they were somewhat conscious. I don't know, but I didn't complain. I was like, it's the only place within like 5 mile radius, and obviously I didn't have a car at the time, so I didn't feel like skating super far away just to get liquor.
So you were big into skating before video games. Can we start with that? So let's tell us a little bit about yourself. What area do you live in? What country do you live in? How old are you, etc.? What do you do for a living, etc., etc.?
All right, for sure. So I'm 24. I grew up in SoCal, but yeah. So like, I'm a video analyst for professional sports. It's like my main job. But it sounds a lot cooler. I pretty much make videos for like all the NASCAR teams during the weekend.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are you a racing fan?
No. I have zero clue about racing besides what I have to do for work.
Oh my god. Dude, I'm such a racing nerd. I'm so fucking mad at you right now. I don't really like NASCAR, but like I love racing. So, okay, can we dig into what you actually do for them for just a minute? Like what are these videos that you're making?
Sure. Okay, so did you ever play any racing games and then like you always had like that ghost car that was like a time trial attack?
Yeah, sure.
So pretty much what I do is so let's say your car is racing, like let's say Sunday is a race, so Saturday and Friday are practices and qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
And you and my car was like say a tenth of a second faster than yours. So you would come to me and ask me, hey, I want to see my car at my best lap, which was like the 5th lap during the first practice, versus versus somebody else's car on their 10th lap.
So you're not making like promotional videos. You're making like video game reality. Like this is why their line is better than yours. And
yep, exactly.
That's where they got ahead of you, or their camber's a little bit better. So you're taking the feed from what's being recorded and you're matching it up. Wow, so you know how to make a fucking video.
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
How did you get into that?
So, funny story. So back in 2012, when I used to stream CSGO, and I had a friend who it was from New Zealand who'd actually stream, and we'd like stream together. We'd bounce our viewers off each other. And a little while later, like 2015 or 14, he kind of just was like, hey, I'm doing this like show on this like site called Blab, which is basically like Twitch minus the video games. And you can have up to 4 people like video streaming at once while the rest of the people are in the chat. And I met somebody there who, like, we kind of finally decided to all meet up in real life. And he works for this. He's been working for this company that I work for now since they started. And he was like, hey, I have basically a extra job that's about to open up if you're interested. And so I was like, sure. And my application was basically his boss looking at my YouTube channel. I guess he really likes gamers because they actually kind of know what the fuck they're doing with the computer stuff. And next thing you know, I got the job.
Wow. Okay. So how good are you at CS:GO?
Okay, so
you were playing. Wait, no. So back then you were playing 1.6, right? Was CS:GO
2000?
out?
No. In 2013, I don't remember what I was playing.
Dude, I gotta look this up. When did CS:GO come out?
It was released in 2013. I was playing CS:GO. 2011.
It came out in 2012. Holy shit! Yeah. Wow.
Okay. 2011, 2012, I played Call of Duty, and then 2013, I played CS:GO.
So you're an FPS guy by like that. That was kind of your intro into what? When did you really get into gaming?
Okay, so my dad actually worked at this place called Circuit City. Rest in peace. It's
no, stop it. He did not. You fucking stop right there, dude. I ran the computer departments at my local Circuit City, dude. It's so funny we have to be like this place called Circuit City because it fucking closed, but all the people that work there are like, it was so much fun. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So he worked there, and he was kind of higher up at like the store. So when I was younger, he'd constantly bring home like the latest video game console that was out. Like I had 3 Sega Dreamcast, but 2 of them were basically the demo, like not demo, but like the ones you can like try out in the store. He'd bring home the entire case and everything, and we would like I'd get to have it at my house for about a week, and then he'd take it to the church. But once I got a little older, I think like in middle school or elementary school, he would let me skip school from time to time, and then I could pretty much just go and hang out at the Circuit City while he's working. And they had like a little game room, which was like they had the latest consoles, the latest games, and just a full-on stereo like surround system there. So I guess I've been always into gaming, but it was never really a big thing up until pretty much once I graduated high school.
So did you like just kind of piecemeal like a PC together to get into PC gaming, or were you like, I need a PC game and I'm gonna buy some fucking parts?
Actually, once I graduated high school, I actually bought an Xbox and I was playing Call of Duty. And I used to make YouTube videos. I got somewhat well known within the community, and I got pretty far. But then, long story short, I ran into some IRL issues and I kind of stopped playing for a little bit. And when I came back, I was like, you know what? I love video editing. So I changed my major in college, and I decided to I asked my neighbor to like put out like on her credit card for Best Buy to get this $1,000 video editing PC that I was going to use to edit videos. Every day I'd make a new edit to practice and whatnot. And after a while, I started playing PC games, and now that $1,000 computer is now like a lot bigger beast.
Okay, so FPS player. How'd you get into MMOs? Was
okay,
Bloo your first MMO?
No, it's more like my second or third.
Okay.
So I started off. A friend of mine actually was telling me about this anime called Log Horizon. I never really watched anime when I was younger, or almost at all. And I started watching Log Horizon, and then I liked it. So then I was like, oh, shows like Log Horizon. I Googled and I found Sword Art Online. And so I started to typing in video games like Sword Art Online, and then like I couldn't really find anything. And then I found an MMORPG. I found Star Wars: The Old Republic. I started playing that just because I love Star Wars. Like I grew up back. I didn't have a DVD player until I was in high school. I had a Laserdisc, and the only things I had was the old Star Wars movies.
You had a laser, like the fucking like 3-foot Like,
Yep.
wow. Like that's something you had in like school, like the schools had or something. I've never even heard of somebody that actually owned one of those.
Yeah, like I only had Star Wars movies and Titanic, so
Where would you even get? Okay, so your dad worked at Circuit City, so he could probably get
yep.
the hookup for the content for that. Okay, good for him. It's like having an HD DVD player.
Yeah. And but yeah, so I started playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then finally somebody, because like one of my guildmates was basically like, "Hey, since you said you were looking for a game kind of like Sword Art, there's actually a game that's in beta in Korea called Black Desert Online." So at the time, obviously, I didn't have like a Korean account, so I bought one. Like I didn't have any information myself to play, so I bought a Korean account, and then I basically played beta, but super casual. And then I started playing Terra as well.
So you didn't have to go through like the whole social security thing or anything. Like you just bought an account that was already. Because when I first heard of Black Desert, like, you know, it was like it has everything any MMO player could possibly want. Because I came from Star Wars Galaxies, which was one of the greatest MMOs ever made. If anybody's watched my podcast before, I'm going to bore them if I bring it up one more time. So I'm not going to go into Star Wars Galaxies again. But we were kind of promised the world, and it's like, hey, the one downside is you have to have a Korean social security number, and it's like, I don't want to get like arrested in Florida for something I did in Korea or whatever. So you just got like a login, like you didn't have to mess with that shit or anything, because that scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, no, I got really lucky. My friend who like told me about the game was like, "Yeah, I can help you. I can get you an account." And he pretty much was like, "Okay, give me $10 and I get you an account."
Wow,
so,
$10? Where'd you find it?
I don't even know what site he got it at. He just said, "Give me $10." And I was like, "Okay,
keep going."
But yeah, so I played that for a little bit, really casual. And there was a streamer that I used to watch called Blank Space, and close to NA release, there was he started playing Arcade before during the, I think there was like the closed beta time, and so he was mentioning that he wanted a guild in Terra. So I actually was like, "Hey, I'll install Terra and I'll be," because I really liked watching him. So I was like, "I'll help you get the guild up in Terra." I had no clue about Terra at the time. So I put all my time into Terra for pretty much from when Arcade first had their closed beta up until their release. But then I was like, I kind of was like, I heard Black Desert Online was actually having an NA release. So I was like, well, hey, now I can actually understand what I'm playing. So maybe I'll try it out. And I applied for Gatekeeper because I had known them from the KR version that they're actually a pretty strong guild. So I applied and I got in, and I was in Gatekeeper since, well, technically since like CBT2.
Did you, I'm sorry, not to be unlinear, but did you play Counter-Strike like professionally, semi-professionally? You ever do any of those? What was that league that they had for a while?
Cal League, and then no, I mean, if you want to count back in like 1.6 days, I used to go with my older brother and we'd like compete at our local internet cafe. We'd always win, but it was like if we only ever went there, we didn't really know like anything else. But other than that, no. But like later on, I had actually like stopped playing BDO because I actually started to work in the esports industry, and I got really busy with that traveling. So I was like, I can't keep up with BDO and travel because I didn't have a laptop, so it's not like I can like remote connect and do anything AFK. So I started to work in the esports industry, and that's kind of when I got a lot better at CS:GO, I'd say. But at the same time, it was like 24/7 talking about CS:GO. So when you're home, you don't really want to play the game, and so I just like stopped playing altogether after a little bit.
So did getting into esports happen before Bluegate or after?
Before. Like I was in for pretty much from 2015, 2016, and 2017. This is the first year that I actually decided to take a break from esports.
Wow, really? So what'd you? I'm not familiar. What'd you do?
I was in tournament operations, so basically like an admin. I started off as like literally just the pure ass of live chat support on Faceit, and a while later they realized I was like taking like not just North American but European chats and all that. That's basically the start of me not having a single sleep schedule whatsoever. And I started working for their professional league matches, and then they invited me out to their LAN finals in London. And from there, that's when I started just to pretty much just travel constantly. I was traveling with Face It, and then I started to work with this show called E-League, which is actually broadcasted on TNT, and that's in Atlanta. And I started working with them, and it was like for the last like 2 years, I was basically every week on Monday Monday night I'd fly out to Atlanta, and then I'd get back home Saturday or Sunday morning, and I'd pretty much just have like less than 24 hours to relax, shower, like clean all my clothes, like wash all my clothes, and then fly back out. So
almost seems like it'd be cheaper for them to give you an apartment out there or something, right? Like,
well, that's what they were going to do, but the issue is with in esports, it's really sucks, like, because like, you know, there are people that are willing to do your job for a lot less because of, like, for example, like me, like I made it to the top where I was like the tournament director. But the issue is that there are people that live like in Europe, like, you know, Romania and stuff like that, to where they're willing to do it for a lot less because they can make a living off of that money. So when they this year, my actual job, my job with NASCAR, they said I couldn't actually go as much. And so I told E-League guys, and they're like, well, we'll pay you full time. I was like, well, okay. So how much are you willing to pay? I was like, can I at least get like $3,000 a month? Because I mean, living in Atlanta, I feel like $3,000 could at least keep us like comfortable living to an extent. And they only wanted to give me like less than $2,000 a month.
Yikes.
To live out there. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, just I wouldn't be able to actually live off that. So
that's like my grocery bill for having a kid.
Yeah, it's pretty ass. And then like the other issue is I was actually, before I worked with E-League, I was gonna go full time with Face It, which is another like esports company, tournament organizers. But the issue with them is that basically what I thought was a good friend of mine found out how much they were gonna pay me, and he's a trust fund kid, so he pretty much just told them, hey, just give me $1,500 a month, and I'll go full time with you guys instead.
Oh, what
so
a fuck boy!
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So now I just taking a break. I still do freelance from time to time. Like in November, in the first, like, I want to say right during Thanksgiving, I actually was in Copenhagen for another company called Blast Pro Series, which is a newer company. But they had a big tournament out there, so they flew me out.
So you're pretty happy doing you can do your NASCAR stuff remotely, and that's what gives you time to stream and kind of hang out and do what you want.
Yeah, my the offices are in San Francisco, so I work from the computer. So there are a lot of times where I'll literally stream up until like 5 minutes before I have to log in, and then I'll just log in for work.
So you're going to TwitchCon, right?
Yes, definitely.
Nice, dude. Dude, we're gonna have fun.
I can't for days. Just saying.
Oh man, it's gonna be such a shit show. So, all right, let's dig into the BDO stuff here a little bit. So let's talk about. So you find BDO because you're looking for something that was like Sword Art Online or whatever, and then you start digging into it. You do the beta, you hang out. You're with this guild. What's your real expectations of this? Or, you know, where are you with your life when release comes out? Are you expecting this to be like a big part of your life, or are you just kind of like casually playing an MMO? You know, where are you with BDO once you really start getting into it?
Originally, I was just gonna play it pretty casually, like I did in Korea. But since I joined Gatekeeper and I found out like they were like a hardcore, considered like the top one of the two top PvP guilds and whatnot, I realized I was gonna have to do it really hard. And so because of where I was at the time, I was making a decent amount of money to where I could spend a lot of time just hanging out in the game. And I was pretty much doing like multiple 24-hour sessions of grinding a week, just keeping my level up, keeping the high money, staying within the top 5 levels or a top 5 growth chart. So I ended up going pretty hard at it for the beginning. And like during the once Medio was released, that's kind of when the guild kind of started to like the officers, the more popular Silta and Warden, they started to kind of just due to everything that happened in the game and the drama. And unfortunately, it kind of leaked in their IRL life, so they started to bring the guild morale down. And so I kind of just stopped wanting to play, just like a bunch of other members. And it's kind of when I took a break from BDO, actually.
So were you streaming BDO back then?
No, I wanted to, but at the time I didn't. I could barely even run BDO.
Okay, so you take a break from BDO because you're going into esports, and then you come back to BDO. When roughly do you come back to BDO, or real life and esports and all that kind of stuff? When do you come back to BDO in a meaningful way?
I came back in February of. Let's see. It was released in February 2017, I believe it was. So about a little over a year ago.
So what brought you back? Why'd you want to come back, and what were your intentions?
So a few of my really good friends that was in Gatekeeper, they were telling me, oh, hey, we're still playing the game. We have our own guild. And so I was like, all right, I'll come back and like play with them for a little bit. And then I found out Man Up was like this really big guild. And I was like, what happened? And so that's kind of when I was like, okay, I want to get stronger, because I heard Barcode was like the only other guild really willing to fight Man Up at the time. So I was like, okay, I have to get stronger so I can join Barcode so we can fight Man Up. Because like in my mind, coming back, like Man Up has always been like enemy number one. And so like my instant thing was, okay, I have to get stronger so we can fight Man Up. And so then I decided to go hardcore and do it again.
So you joined Barcode? You were in Barcode?
No. So I was in DGAF, but the goal was to join Barcode, just fight Man Up, and then Barcode died. Like I want to say about a month or two later was when Man Up took Valencia, and then Orca kind of stopped, and Barcode kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, Orca.
And so
man, that was a tough time for Orca.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But yeah, so then I decided, I was like, well, I can get this guild because, I was talking to the guild leader, and he was like, I was telling him like, yeah, I want a siege and all that. He's like, well, okay, well, become an officer in my guild and help us get to that point where we can siege. So in my mind, I was like, oh, good, this is great. So I was making all the moves I could to try to put DGAF into the position of siege. And as Barcode was actually starting to come back, and like I think right before they took their first, I think it was Serendia, they were going to fight for Serendia, and then they ended up actually winning. But that siege, I was talking, and I was told, I pretty much made an alliance with Barcode, and they were like, yeah, well, if you help us, we'll give you the castle, and then we'll switch off and stuff. But the guild leader of my guild kind of went back on his word about siege, and then the other officers were like, yeah, we don't want to siege. So then that kind of fell through, and that's kind of around the same time I left this guild and started merking.
So how do you feel about Black Desert, right around this time? Are you happy with the direction that it's going? What's your state of mind with the game? Because obviously, to be the person that you are and do what you did, you have to have some sort of real opinion about how the game was operating before you did what you did.
To be honest, I really loved the game, but I feel like it was more just because like at the time there wasn't any other game that I could really enjoy. And to be honest, there still really isn't any other game that I can enjoy as much.
Okay, so let's dig in on that for a second. Okay, first I've been trying to ask you a question for like 20 minutes and I keep forgetting. Are you bilingual or trilingual? Do you know more languages than one?
I can speak English and Spanish, and then I'm learning Korean. I learned French, but that was like in middle school, and I completely forgot everything. And
are you learning Korean just because you play on KR? Like, it's just?
Well, I actually started to learn Korean when I was working in esports more, just because I almost got a job with OGN, but I lost it to somebody else because they knew more Korean than me. They were actually able to speak Korean pretty fluently. So I was like, okay, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to actually learn Korean because then it'll like give me more opportunities for the job. And then now it's just kind of like, now I'm just doing it a little more casually so I can speak, because I figured I play in the region now, might as well at least learn a little bit so I can be more vocal with them and my guildmates.
Do you get many Koreans watching you or trying to connect with you?
So I actually didn't think that I did, but I found out actually just like a week ago. I was talking to one of my guildmates, and he said that because I used to get stream sniped by a couple Koreans, and I guess they told me that there's actually a lot of Koreans that actually know who I am in the game, and so that's why I'm getting stream sniped. And there's a lot of times where there are certain guilds that are actually deck on my guild just to kind of fuck with me and try to fight me.
So like, are we talking about Koreans, like people that live in Korea, or Korean? Okay, so people that have NA accounts that are living in Korea, because like 20 or 30% of Aftershock was Korean. I don't know if anybody really knew that, but like some of my best friends in my guild were Korean and still are. Like they were awesome, but they were all living in Canada, so they were playing on NA server. And I guess they were in Fortune for a while, then they joined Aftershock for whatever reason. But I wasn't sure if it was like, I never heard like we got a deck on DGAF or anything like that. Like that never came down. I never really, there was no assault or anything like that. So I assumed it was people actually living over there trying to snipe you. But I wanted to dig in on if there was a better game, I would play it. Because I feel like if you step on a BDO player's toes, that's what you hear. What are we looking for? You know, now that pay to win has really kind of come out, this is an easier answer. But let's move away from that, because up until this past week, that wasn't really part of the equation. But we've been hearing this from anybody, everybody. You step on a BDO player's toe, they say, if a better one came out, I'd play it. Why do you think that is? And what is so wrong with BDO that, you know, what is that one or two qualities that you think would have to come out in a game to make people go, oh yes, finally, this is what I'm looking for?
I think that's very I think it's kind of an interesting question, because like I think it just changes based on who you ask. Like for me personally, I've thought about this a lot, and I actually don't really know what it is, because I mean, for me, like I used to think, oh, I hate the way this enhancing is. I hate Korean MMOs because of that. I want something that's just more like WoW type of upgrading your gear. But then now I actually love this way. And like, to be honest, I actually love the way this enhancing is. I feel like, because I mean, if I'm being honest, I did try a private server at one time, and I realized it got really boring once you have that in-game gear to where you don't need to enhance anymore. It's just like, what's the point of me playing? So I think it just depends. So like for a lot of my viewers that are more used to like the Western type MMOs, a lot of them just they don't like the enhancing. They don't like the way the progression is. They would prefer a more Western type of progression where you can get your gear. There's not as much RNG in it. You don't have to spend 4 or 5 months finally to get a certain spot in your gear, and then within a matter of minutes, all of that can be lost, right? So I think it just depends who you ask. Like I know some people are like that, and then some people just actually would rather have some more challenging PvE content, such as like raids or something of that nature. And then you have others that just want more PvP content, but then at the same time, you also have others that feel just like the gearing is just too much of a issue when it comes to PvP. Because I mean, if you're not at a certain gear tier, then all of a sudden, no matter how skilled you are, you're not going to win. But then, once you get but you have like this like divide, because then you have other players that are already at this certain gear tier. So the skill actually sort of starts to be a little bit more of an impact in the fights. I just think it's just like the question of what would be a better game just depends on who you ask, really.
So you think BDO needs a little bit more World of Warcraft? Is that what you're saying?
Personally, no. I hate WoW.
No, hold on.
I do know.
But you just described it.
Yeah. Well, no, because I said earlier, like from the people that are used that want like that more Westerner type of MMO. Like personally, I think BDO is great. Like I think there are like some stuff needs a little fine tuning, like the gear imbalances, things of that nature. But like just coming from what I've been hearing from like a lot of my different viewers, I hear and I see the different, I guess you can say the different opinions on what they would want to be a better BDO.
Do you think it just comes out of people, I mean, this is, maybe people just don't realize that this is actually a sandbox game, right? Do you think that that's part of the reason that people go, oh, I can't wait till a better game than video comes out? You think it just comes from like them just not realizing that if they want content, they have to stop bitching or stop, you know, quitting guilds every 2 weeks and just go, hey, actually, if I want to create a conflict, it's up to me. You know, if I want PvP content, you know, that's at my level, I have to set it up. Because I mean, that's, if I can speak to how what I did with my year and a half of leading Aftershock, is our gear score was never great ever, but we created this kind of fake world in Balanos where we could have these guilds that were roughly the same level fighting each other. Somebody in chat just said, you know, we need more 210 AP content because I can't really participate in anything. And back in the day, that's roughly where we were. You know, and as things moved up, 210 AP is a tough place to be, so I respect that. But I feel like you can get these guilds together that have these APs, get in a Discord, and just go, hey, we're all around this level. Let's get into a Discord. Let's clear everybody else out that's trying to fuck with us, which is content there. And then let's fight each other and have like a little bit of a grudge match or something. And so I feel like that, you know, people go, oh, scripted fights and all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? So I kind of think the people that really just kind of go, I want a better game, are just like, maybe you don't realize this is actually Sandbox. Because it is, right? Outside of life skilling and some of the market stuff, this is a Sandbox PvP game.
You're actually really correct. Did you play back during like Media and before Media days? Did you play
the thing that saved me from quitting this game the way I quit Blade and Soul was the flowers coming off of the Maewa's blade that apparently had just come off. Or just came out. I was like, holy shit, this is cool, and this movement and all this stuff. Why I put on new green gear that has higher AP, but I can't kill anything. Like, I had no idea what I was doing in this a Korean RPG. What's Korean? I don't care where it came from. I'm playing a game. I didn't realize it was stylistic kind of a thing, right? So I came into this right when like Medaya and Maewa came out, and I was trying to figure out. I had one Blackstone. And I kept that Blackstone between 3 different characters as I tried to figure out what class I wanted to play. So that's where I was.
Yeah, so actually what I was going to lead into was like what you were mentioning about like creating content. That's actually what we did for the first few months of release. Because they kept saying, like, they pretty much kept pushing Siege back and Node Wars. So what we did for like the first, God, I don't remember how many months it really was. But we all like, so I mean, obviously the higher end guilds pretty much rushed their way to the high level to like at one time before Media, it was like 55 was like the highest level. Maybe there was a 56, 57. No, I think 56 was probably the highest at the time. But what we would do to like, because I mean, we got really bored really soon, is we would create our own PvP. Either it'd be, you know, okay, so we know these guilds hang out on this channel, so let's go create some guild PvP happening there, or the officers would set up different guild GVGs. Like I remember one time there was a huge GVG with Man Up, Gatekeeper. I want to say Gravity was there, and I don't remember if it was Waifu Hunter at the time or Risen.
That was my
but like sorry. We'd constantly have like these at least once a week or twice a week. We'd have these set up fights, and it was really fun because I mean we get all the PvP we'd want. It wasn't like we were PvPing against guilds that had like no gear compared to us, because like we set it up with guilds that had similar gear. And honestly, I want to say personally that was probably one of the most fun times PvPing in BDO ever that I've ever had, was because of just like setting it up ourselves and just making sure every guild that was there was actually a guild that, you know, we didn't have to worry about it being like a true stomp or anything.
We can still do that though, right? Like nothing's really changed except for people's mentalities, right? So in the last couple of weeks, I promise, you know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring up Aftershock a couple of times. My chat fucking freaks out anytime I say Aftershock. But like the last week we were alive, Legatum was like, oh, let's GVG, let's 40v40 on a Friday, and I was like, fuck yeah, like I can't be there on a Friday, and I guess my guild hated me for that, but like Friday's one day I take off. but like only 24 or 27 people from Aftershock showed up, and I think Legatum showed up with 40. But like, it was so disappointing to me. I thought we were gonna have to cut people in a 40v40 on a Friday night, right? Like, we're a bunch of video game nerds. You know, well, some of us have lives, but a bunch of us just want to play video games on a Friday. And it was so disappointing to me because I remember those days. You know, a year ago, we had the, you know, Aftershock and Crack House or whatever you want to call us. We had all those GVGs from way back when, and all these people and 2v1s and guilds coming in and Kyokai and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like it might be the community's mentality that's really kind of, because GVG can be fun, and maybe we're just spoiled with objectives. That's been my mentality on GVG, and I didn't necessarily always like it because there was no objective except for you hit G and you go, who has the higher number, and you can kind of cheese that and all that kind of stuff. And I know they try to help it, but I don't know, man. I agree. Those pre-awakening days, those fights were, maybe the time to kill was just different. I was just so new to those times that I really didn't know why it was good. I just knew that it was crazy, and maybe it was the numbers or whatever the case was. But I think everybody needs a quick shaking and going, hey, you gotta make your own content. It's a fucking sandbox. Stop crying, you know?
Yeah, I went on like a huge rant. It was a drunken rant, so I don't think it was too great. But I remember going on a huge rant about this actually the other night. Pretty much saying like exactly what you're saying. You just got to make your own content. There's actually out there, I think Black Sea is the one who is in charge of it, but there's a fight club Discord specifically
Black Sea
to get fights.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it's used. I just know that it's out there. I mean, I just feel like if more people actually like kind of just got up from just grinding or sea monster hunting or whatever they're doing to actually just create the content, I feel like there are a lot more people that actually enjoy the game a lot more.
That's probably part of it too, right? Is if you're under soft cap, like it's kind of tough. Like, you could probably join any guild that you see build on Balanos or Serendia if you're under soft cap, or at soft cap if you're looking to be a little more, you know, maybe a bigger fish in a smaller pond kind of thing. But if you want to get into like a serious PvP siege guild, Black Rose, Chonation, Vertex, you know, all those guys, you really have to be soft cap or over. So I think that might be one of the detriments. It's like, why are you out there just GVGing when you can be getting money or be on Arsha? If you want PvP, go get an Arsha rotation, and when somebody tries to kill you, you flag up and you kill them in 2 shots. And so maybe Renown has had a big, you know, because Renown really doesn't scale until soft cap or over, right? Like, if you're under soft cap, that's it. Like, you're just 1 or 2 shot. Like, I don't have to do my flow on Skull Crusher to kill you if you're under soft cap.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing that most likely plays a part. I mean, just the fact that you kind of have to choose now between like having to, like, if you want to be in like the top guilds, I'm not sure the exact gear in NA what it is, but I know like in KR, right? If you want to be in the top 5 CH guilds and stuff, if you want to actually have fun PvPing with them, you need to have at least 270, 280 plus AP. And that's actually why there was a huge exodus of players, right? Because
you need 270 AP to be in a Siege Guild, in a top Siege Guild in KR?
Yeah, so like the top 5 Siege Guilds, their core average is 270, 280. That's actually why Roland actually stopped PvPing in BDO and kind of decided to stop playing, because he's at 253, I believe, with the 10 RC. And it's not enough gear anymore to like fight those guys because of renown score. And a lot of players actually ended up leaving because of that. Like, even my guild, people left because it's like, what's the point? Like, trying to get there is going to be age unless you have a lot of money to swipe. And so like a lot of people don't really have that motivation anymore to really get to that point. I mean, Siege guilds in general, like, or Node War guilds in general now in KR is the standard gear is now 260 AP. If someone says old standard gear, that's like the 253, what in the EU called soft cap. So like Node War guilds are generally 250, 260 AP average now.
In KR.
Yep.
Dude, I just got 257 yesterday, and I'm a whole new man. Like, I got that 1 AP boost, and I'm like, I can kill everybody. Like, this is great. So I know I'm bearing the lead here a little bit by not talking about, you know, everything that happened with you and PA and leaking stuff, but I really want to talk about you playing KR. We all kind of talk about KR Like, I don't know how many streamers you watch or how much time you spend with these other streamers, but people will go, well, in KR, and then you can say anything, and everybody will be like, yep, that's how it is in KR, you know, and it's
Yeah.
every other time somebody says something, it's completely different. Can you give us like a rundown outside of what you just did? You told me the other day actually that, you know, it's a free to play game in KR, and the costumes cost X amount of dollars, all that kind of stuff. Can you kind of hit some highlights on what the big differences between KR and NA is right now, especially since we're all kind of looking towards a global build?
I'd say like there's a few things. One, like just the average gear is a lot higher. That's something I actually didn't know, and I didn't realize how big of a difference it was until I came back to NA.
Do you have a why for that?
I want to say, okay, so with all of these current quote unquote pay to win changes that just happened in the EU, that's been in KR for, I want to say, I know at NA launch this stuff has been in KR, and just like over time it's slowly increased the amount.
What
like,
stuff? The cron melting or the
cron
Valk's
melting, Valk's cries. The prices for costumes were higher in KR, and then just over time they started to slowly increase.
Higher meaning like price. USD to whatever.
No, the silver value.
Okay.
But because it's free to play, they have higher prices of US dollar. Like the US dollar to pearl is higher. Like a premium costume in KR is $64 US, but you get a total of 65.
$65.
Yeah,
for a costume.
But it's worth 227.7 mil on the marketplace, or when you do cron stones, it's 420 total cron stones. So it's like it's valued higher too.
So we don't even have pay to win. That's holy fuck. So is that why they have better gear? It's just like their shit is scaled so much higher.
I think it's just a mixture of like between one, just having like, if you wanted to credit card swipe, you could definitely, like, it'd cost a little more money, but at the same time you'd get more items. And at the same time, these things have been in the game for the last 2.5 years at least.
I'm sorry. So I think we all just got caught up in the numbers. The outfits cost twice as much, but you get twice as much out of it. The scaling is the same. Are you limited on how many costumes you can sell in the marketplace in KR?
Yes, no, you're not limited to how many items you're allowed to sell in the marketplace, but technically there's like a law so that you're limited to how much money you can put into your own account. But there's like two different ways to bypass that. Like one, if you have, well, there's three. So one, you can create alternate accounts through using your family members' information, which actually a lot of big Korean streamers do this. And then they put like, so it's like $500 equivalent per account. So then they put $500 in their main account, 500 on their brothers, their sisters, their family, like their dads. And then they just buy all the costumes and send it as a gift to their main account. Or, you know, if you have a friend, you can do the same thing. Or the alternative after that, if you're like a loner and you don't have anybody, or if you just want more, you can just buy an account for like, nowadays, it's like $10, I think still. Or like, I think even less. You can buy accounts and then just use those as like meal accounts to send them to your main.
So $500 per week, month? What?
Per month.
$500 USD roughly per month.
Yep. It's actually kind of cool though. I think it's actually a better system than like having a limit to how much you can actually put on the market each week, because the cool thing is, so the first of the month in KR, some people refer to it as D-Day. Because what happens is the marketplace for pro shop items just gets exploded. And so like if you want something, so that's why I think it's also kind of easier to buy things off the marketplace in terms of pro items, because you know that the first of the month it's going to be exploded. So you just camp that day on the market.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Is because we know there's a bunch of kind of, to us, crazier laws about gaming and financing and stuff like that. So is this limit some sort of Korean law, or just what they're trying to keep the players happy with?
So as far as I'm aware, from what I understand, it's like there is a law. It's basically there is a law, about how much money you can put into a game. I do not know if the actual the numeric limit of 500 was set by PA or just from the law. I don't know that exactly, but I do know it's because I do know the reason why it's there is because of the law in Korea.
Okay, so it's roughly, there is some sort of law that's limiting them from just going pay to win, you know, kind of like we are right now. So I think if I have to speak for everybody, I'd say we all thought Korea has been, because you told me or said on a stream that the Korean culture is a little more pay to win than North America, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more people with like a good amount of money to kind of just throw out. Like the way that they see it is, well, from my guildmates when I talk to them about it, is that a lot of people like they have like these jobs and so they don't have as much time to play, but they have a lot of extra money, so they can just they use that money to kind of throw out the game to get kind of to keep competitive with other players, but they kind of tend to pull ahead.
So maybe it's just more of a cultural, like, I don't think it's a big secret that Americans don't have large savings accounts as a whole. And maybe these crazy laws where like you can only spend $500 a month on a video game kind of helps other nations be a little more savvy. But that's fucking weird. That's interesting. So they've had this $500 cap. I had no idea about this $500 cap. Because that's I've had on my normal stream, I have the cap pay to win thing. So right now we're actually uncapped, where Korea is technically capped but very easy to work around. You know, it's like, how many accounts do you really want? When we had that thing, we had some event, I forgot what it was, where you had to gift it to somebody. It was like a Valentine's Day thing or something. I had like 4 accounts, and I'd, you know, 2 of them were friends that quit, and I'd pass it back and forth and all that kind of stuff. But like any more than 4 accounts, and I'd be like, this is not fucking worth it. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's the answer, but I think unilaterally the community is kind of behind some sort of cap on pay to win for NA, right?
I'm sure.
Does Korea have any sort of thoughts or reactions to what's happening here?
Oh wait, to what's happening in NAEU?
Yeah, are they worried, or I guess they're governed by laws? Do you know anybody that has any sort of feedback about what's happened to us in the past couple of days?
No. I do know that they don't like it. So what happens in KR is like every now and then they'll increase the amount of like silver that you get for pro items, and they hate it every single time. There's always like at least a little kind of a protest. But PA is getting smart about that, and every time they find out that there's going to be a protest, they tend to have some kind of like special event. Or last time they had it to where the world boss spawns pretty much at exactly the same time as the protest. So you don't get as many people going because they want to go to the world boss.
So okay, all right. Well, let's dig in on this, because I've been accused of being a white knight by somebody for Kakao, and I want to go on record in saying that, you know, Kakao I think is good to us, especially with Richter coming in and Emery being a little more active with the BDO partners and stuff like that. But I'm not white knighting Kakao or PA for any reason. And to prove that, I feel like the patch notes that we got were total bullshit. And I think Moreland put it best, where he's like, oh, look at all this stuff that's going on. By the way, you can just melt costumes for crowns. Like, it was literally 5 words that were the biggest shake in the economy. And they just tried to fucking glaze over it. And we have more events now than we've ever had. So you think PA's just kind of ripping a page out of that KR book? Yep. Because they have protests, right? So you think they're just kind of trying to distract us a little bit? Because that's my mindset.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a potential strategy that they might be trying to pull off.
Well, KR doesn't have Tim Allen, and I'm not going to fucking stand for that shit. Well, most of the streamers, you know, we all knew it was coming. So talk about the KR protests a little bit. Have you ever participated in one? What do they protest mostly? Is it effective at all? Because ours were kind of a joke.
Well, okay, so when I got banned, they did a protest, kind of a free blue, but also about hidden stats, because they didn't like, once they were able to see all the stats, they're like, hey, we don't want to see those stats. and I want to say what like a week later, that was the producer letter, whatever, was like, hey, we're sorry, we understand you don't want to see hidden stats, so we're gonna add some into the game. And I don't know if it was like the protest, or I think it was just a combination of everything, of me releasing the stats and then all the players across every other region kind of getting behind wanted to see the stats.
So was that the start of the protests?
No, they used to do protests before that, and but I didn't really pay attention to all of their protests. I know they did a protest about pay to win, that obviously didn't do anything. They did a protest about like just imbalances in the game, and that was, I feel like that actually may have played a role as well in the changes of the balance changes. It was between that as well, from what I've been told, from my understanding, from what I've been told by various Korean BDO partnered streamers and just various Koreans in general. The rumor that was going around that is what caused or sparked the balance changes was, one, the protest, but also supposedly when they it was they want us, they said, I don't quote me, like I don't know if this is 100% true, but they did say it was the protest and the roundtable, which I don't know how true that was, but yeah, so they basically kind of said that their protest kind of mattered, I guess. It sparked a change. Unfortunately, it wasn't the change that everybody wanted.
So NA had a protest once or twice, but it was like almost cringy. So you don't think KR has a lot more protests? You don't think that nobody's really getting through to PA, right? Like it's basically they're doing kind of what they want to do? Or do you feel that, KR has some sort of line of communication or anything? Do you have any sort of a beat on, because KR still does quite a bit of protests. Do you have any idea why, I guess, would be an easier question?
So there was a point in time where PA actually sort of listened to their BDO partnered streamers. Like they actually had they invited some of their partnered streamers to come and have like a dinner, so to speak, and like
in KR or NA or
Korea?
Both?
In Korea.
Korea.
In Korea, it was the Korean BDO partnered streamers.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it had an effect on anything, but from what I've been told now is that they kind of stopped doing it, and now they literally just don't listen. Like for example, if you watch I don't know if you watched like the last, like their remastered kind of what would it be called? There's speech or not speech?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, when they the whole little conference that they had for the remastered, as soon as it ended, if you look in like the Twitch chat, all the Koreans were basically saying PA is running out in an elevator, because that's kind of what they do now. They don't listen. They used to sit. There was a few times where they stayed after and they answered questions, but now they don't. They don't do a Q&A after. They just straight up leave right after the event's over. I will say the Koreans got really, really upset about the 4-chop hunting with the 4-chop.
Really?
And yeah, they got really upset. And there was one person who was in an NA Siege guild who was streaming it, and he got there was 3 posts on Invin, basically all showing his stream, and they all went to his channel and they started calling him some racial slurs and getting mad, and they were all saying, we're going to report him, we're going to get him banned, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he never got banned. But that was literally, what was that, like a few days before the patch, and this patch, a few days later, this patch, they made sure to fix it. And so I don't know if the Koreans getting mad and all spam reporting it had a role to play in getting it fixed, but it definitely got fixed really quick without any announcement of it.
What am I missing about this? It was some fire horn. Do they have Manos?
No.
They don't have the Manos. They don't have the enhanced crafting or whatever, right? Like what are they so mad about this? I'm seeing this in, Moreland streaming it, and a couple other people have streamed doing this, and I'm like, okay, you get some meat, you got some fire horn, you got some stuff that'll be useful in the future. You get 6 sharps and hards an hour,
So I guess the money per hour was actually really good if you had like if you knew what you're doing and if you had higher hunting. From what I was told from the person that was streaming it, he was saying he was making roughly close to like 80 mil an hour kind of thing.
Have they heard of centaurs?
Yeah, Korea calls centaurs the Valencian what is it called Valencian sausage.
Okay. I kind of
But
found
yeah,
that out before while I was waiting for you to get your Grey Goose. I was like, oh shit, man, this isn't bad.
yeah. But the thing is also is like it's not as lucrative in Korea as it is in NA because the BMC crystals sell for like 1.5, 1.6 mil.
Oh, they're over that whole
Korea.
craze. We're melting them. We're expecting. Isn't that going
Yeah.
to be part of the next crafting thing that we're doing?
For the Mano stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
for the
that's what's
Dragon
going
set
on.
crystals, you need them too as well.
Yeah, and Dragon is coming soon. That's not a soon TM. That's coming fucking soon. So keep not grinding, but heating those crystals, boys. I'd like to take a break every hour just to stretch my back, get another drink, that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind, let's just take 1 minute. If you want to talk to chat or take a break yourself, that's up to you. But I'm just going to take
Sure,
1 second.
I'll go
here.
take a break.
Yep. All right, we'll be
Double
right
shot.
back.
Okay,
Enjoy the deafening silence, chat. Are you back?
Yeah.
So how are you communicating with your Korean guildmates? Is it some of them speak English, or you're trying to piecemeal some Korean together?
Okay, so I can speak a little Korean. I can type a lot better than I can speak. So I'll
Wait,
type
what? Really?
them. Yeah, just a little bit, not enough to have a conversation, but I can say some stuff, and so then that, and then I've kind of learned some common phrases to type at least when I need to in Korean.
So Quaz is one of the Aftershock Koreans that were in my guild, and the person that kind of was the liaison. Not that they needed one. They all spoke English, and we're all friends and stuff like that. The person that was the officer, our Korean officer, if you will, she told me once that the letters or characters, I guess, are like that's how you shape your tongue or something when you speak. Does that sound familiar at all? She was like, yeah, when you see a Korean character, that's the way your tongue is supposed to move. And I'm looking at these characters going, my fucking tongue doesn't do that.
I've actually heard that, but that's definitely not how I'm learning. Because
you're not just going,
no.
Look, that's a box. That's a fucking box. Like, how do I make my tongue a box?
It's funny because so when I first started typing in Korean, I used to have Discord on open mic. So when I'm typing, I'll like kind of say what I think the things are. So sometimes I'm like, okay, so I got to type the little man, the O with a little like sideways T.
Koreans
and some of my guildmates would hear
kissers.
that.
I'm sorry. That's the best. That's the chat message of the night. Koreans confirmed good kissers. That's the most correctly TOS thing that could be said about what we were just talking about.
I have a Korean waifu. I'll find out in December.
All right, I'm sorry. Please continue.
But yeah, no. So like my my guildmates would hear me say stuff like, "Okay, I gotta type the little man, the sideways T," and they'd just be like, "Wait, what the fuck are you talking about?" Because like for me, I kind of just learned with like actually just kind of calling them different things. Like each different character is like looks like a different thing to me.
Yeah, you're just right. So it's like a mnemonic device is basically what you're using to learn Korean.
Yeah.
Wow. So, oh god, when I was stretching, I had this like great question. Oh yeah, that's what it was. What you play both servers evenly?
Yeah, pretty much on my laptop. Now that I have a laptop, when I'm AFK or when I'm playing one game, one actively, I'm AFKing in the other on the laptop.
That's what I was wondering too. I figured you had two computers. If you had to choose one, where would you play?
That's actually kind of hard. If I didn't have the guild, if I wasn't trying to resurrect this guild, I would definitely just choose Korea.
Even with the language barrier?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm learning, and
okay, hold on. Let's take the language barrier and your guild away. Just apples to apples.
Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Give us why?
All right, so pretty much I like challenges. Before I played in Korea, I used to blow up my gear every time I'd hit soft cap as kind of a way to continue my interest in the game as setting goals. And I feel like in Korea, there's such a high gear difference from what I have to what is considered good gear. And so I feel like just having those little goals would just keep my interest so much more. And then on top of that, it's like they get a shit ton of more events, which definitely help them get better gear as well. And also it's just, I just have a lot more fun in Korea than I did playing in AEU. I think it's because I don't have to worry about a bunch of the guild drama.
I can respect
and there's a lot more fights and like node wars and stuff. There's a lot more node wars, more fights in general. Like Siege is kind of slowly starting to get better, but it was dead for a while. But like in node wars, we almost always had a fight, and there's almost always people willing to PvP. And the grinding etiquette's a lot better. You don't really have to worry about certain things there. I don't know. It's just overall a better experience for me personally.
Okay, talk about the grinding etiquette, because that's something that's kind of a thing here a little bit, right?
So in Korea, it's not considered your rotation unless you're clearing whatever you're doing so fast that when they're barely starting to respawn as you make your way back to that specific spot. So like if you're at Sawsons, that main rotation that people call main rotation at Sawsons, unless you're clearing so fast where like as you get back to the start, they're barely starting to respawn, it's not considered your rotation. So people will grind around each other because of that. And it's actually considered BM just to flag up and kill somebody. And that's like, so in AEU, if you go to main rotation, even if like the person's not like ready, not able to kill fast enough, they still call it their rotation. They'll like flag up and kill whoever's there. But in KR, it's actually a little different to where if you're not killing fast enough, it's not your rotation. You just got to grind around each other.
So
and
when I grind, and I've been hitting Fogans pretty hard, with 256 AP. I blow these things up as fast as the game lets you blow them up. And so I'm just moving from pack to pack to pack, trying to get to 61. And I left a 2-pack kind of buffer, if you will, because sometimes I'll forget my Z buff. Sometimes I'm grinding or streaming while I'm grinding. Sometimes I'm just distracted. You get in that mindset. So in Korea, if I left that 1, 2, maybe 3, if I'm really kind of, if I just kind of yawned while I was in the middle of, or talked to guild or world chat or something, if I had that 1, 2, 3 pack buffer in front of me, that is not my rotation because I'm not standing there waiting for the mobs to respawn in front of me.
Well, no, if you have like 1 or 2 pack buffer, most of the players will actually respect that it's your rotation. Okay. But it's more like if I'm only halfway through my rotation and the first half is already starting to respawn, then it's like, okay, obviously you're not fast enough to clear this. You're on your own. Don't try to call it as your own rotation.
Yeah, I have that problem with Fogans, man. Like, there's that part of the cliff rotation where you kind of drop down, and that's like my entire buffer is that little lake where the waterfall comes down into, and that's part of another rotation. And I get these shitters that are just like witches that like put their weapon away and run away or whatever the case is. Like, catch me if you can. It's like, motherfucker, you're literally running away on Arsha server. The amount of, honestly, if I had to pick between pay to win, what we have right now with the pay to win system, and karma, I would keep the pay to win and put karma in the fucking incinerator. So I could just blow everybody. Karma is the, you think fucking pay to win is bad. Everybody that thinks pay to win is bad and wants to quit over it. I have wanted to quit over karma for fucking years. It is the dumbest. Let's punish people for being better geared, better skilled, and putting your ass in the ground in a PvP game. Why the fuck do we have this? And why the fuck did they make it so much more karma? What was that, a year ago? More so? Like, Jesus Christ. Get all the gear you want. As long as I can grab you and drop my leg on you, I don't fucking care. But getting penalized for that shit is awful.
Yeah, they said their reasoning for like making it worse, and even like losing, like getting rid of the losing XP thing, was actually because of people trolling and griefing streamers and camping them at nodes and stuff. Which kind of sucks, because now it's like you got the other way around to where
it's the other way around. It's like, oh, I'm in here, you can't grind, find something else to do on your stream. I much rather just get killed over and over again and have somebody try to guess what channel I'm going to next. Except for Moses. King Moses, I'm sorry, please never stream snipe me again. That kid did such a fucking crazy job.
Yeah, it sucks. I love to go to Arsha, and I don't mind PvP, but that's the one gripe I do have about KR is like there's a I think he's 283 or 285 AP Kuno, and then he's also got a ninja, and then he's got a friend that's a giant around this. The giant's 288, I think he said. They like, I know them in the game, but they like to fuck with me, and they'll just go and stream snipe me if I'm on Arsha at Ackman, and they'll just chase me throughout the entire place. It gets pretty fun.
Was karma added into the game, or was it here from the start? I don't.
No, if I remember correctly, it was here from the start. But something that they used to have, I think this was only in the beta, I don't think it made it to the actual launch, was if you were negative karma and you died, instead of downgrading, you actually had a chance at dropping gear. But people abuse that by, you know, kind of giving gear, and it definitely got fixed ASAP.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of my background. Is I played this game called Darkfall. Lucari did too. That's kind of one of the few things we have in common. That's not completely inverse. And if you died, whatever gear you had on you, full loot, you know. And so it was easier to get gear, right? It didn't take 2 years to get pin and swiping your credit card. It was like you went to the place, you got the things, you found the crafter, and you did it. It took a couple of weeks, but the second you died or were out of durability, like that was it. And so that was crazy fun, because it was kind of this, we would just, in this guild, we'd have naked raids. We'd go to these places where people would wear down the durability of their high-end gear so they could go for the sieges. And we'd just, like, 10 people would zerg down some geared guy, and we'd split up the gear between them. And we do it, like, every night. And so that full loot PvP thing is cool, but that does not work in a game that does not have trade, right? Like, not having any sort of trade has kind of set a different tone in general. I had a friend that just recently started playing the game. I'm like, oh, dude, I have 250,000 beer. Let me give you 100,000. And he was like, I can't hold all that. So I give him 7K. He's like, I can't even put it in my bank. And I'm like, I can actually do nothing besides give you a payout in my guild to help you in this game. Like, that's the only way you can help somebody in this game.
Yeah, funny story. Speaking of like giving people too much food. So back during Media days, a friend of ours in our guild actually was quitting, so he sold all his gear. He bought out all of the food on the market. Literally, there was no more food whatsoever. And people were going crazy, like trying to figure out what's going on, right? And then like we didn't know that he was him. And then next thing you know, someone was like, hey, does anybody need any food? Come to Calpheon. And he was basically giving us like so much food that we were overweight. Like when I came back to the game, the food that he gave me lasted me for another like I want to say like 4 or 5 months because I just had so much food.
It's character bound, and you can't even put it in your bank, right?
Yeah,
like, it's
it was his way of trolling us
to do.
because, yeah. And like we hadn't like thought about it until after we accepted it. We were like, wait a second, now we're overweight. And you had people like literally having to RP walk because it bypassed the overweight system, so you wouldn't go as. It was so bad.
That's funny. Okay, so let's dig into. Can we call it Bluegate? I'm gonna call it Bluegate. You know, the drama surrounding you and PA and leaking a bunch of information. Let's fucking dig into this. How the fuck did this happen? Number one, how did you get your hands on this shit? I'm sorry if you've said this a bunch of times and you've been through it. I honestly don't know anything about this story. And if I don't know anything about it, there has to be thousands of people that don't know, even though we have like 100 people watching. This is going to go on YouTube. I actually talked to Cacao about, hey, I'm going to interview Blue about what's going on. They're like, that's fine. That's cool. Shit. Okay. Like you've got, there is a interesting vibe when your name comes up with anybody that helps run this game. How the fuck did it come into your hands? Did you seek it out? How did this happen?
All right, so actually, like it kind of goes back to when I kind of first came back. It was like I was just curious to see like I heard about a nude mod, and like I don't use a nude mod. I never wanted to use a nude mod, but I was just curious to see how it worked.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then from there, I found out like. What it did was it basically went in, it pretty much you were able to create your own, like through the nude mod, you could actually create your own models and then like pretty much put it into the game so that force the game to read those mods instead. So there's really cool. There's actually like this warrior that literally looks like a Musa because of the mods. But I was kind of like learning how to do that stuff. And then I met somebody who is actually in Vertex who would like go and actually look at the data sheets and whatnot. Like at the time, there were like these data sheets that didn't show any of the hidden stats, but it showed like a lot of the stats we pretty much already knew. And so he showed me how to do that. And so I started messing around with that every update. Then I had listed a few things on Reddit previously, like before fusion skills were actually released in Korea. They were in the
what
sheets.
Skills? I'm sorry.
Fusion skills, so like bomb skills.
Okay, right.
They were actually in the data sheet. So you know, I shared that with Reddit, and that was fine. And I think
so hold on. So you got this information from somebody else?
No. So somebody else taught me how to do it. How to pretty much go in the client and look and pretty much so all the files are under a certain format and it's kind of like protected. So you basically would need either something that can read it and then you can extract it into another format that you can actually read.
So is this person that taught you how to do this still playing the game under their normal account? Yeah,
there's actually it's a huge thing. Like there's 10, 20, 30, a lot of players that do this, but they aren't vocal and they keep things to themselves.
So somebody taught you how to do this and you're looking at this shit and you're going, people need to know why? Well,
like the fusion skills, it was like, I was like, hey, this is actually kind of cool stuff. Let's share it with everybody. And then I think it was like Mystic or Striker skills. I shared that too. And it was fine, right? Like I didn't have any issues. No, I even like opened it up on stream. There was no issues. Nobody from Cacao, nobody saying anything like warning me, telling me I was going to get banned or any of that. So I thought it was fine.
Well, I figured and we've seen male ranger skills too, right? Like that's been, I guess, from the same process.
Yeah, actually, so like, yeah, like BDO Codex basically does what I've been doing this entire time, and there's no issue, right? So like, to me, I like was like, okay, so obviously it's fine because, you know, you have an entire website where at the time it was like BD database known for this stuff. And obviously Cacao hasn't done anything. Cacao has put down takedown notices for private servers. You know, back when Pix BDO was a thing, they went after him, but BDO Codex, BD database.
I'm sorry, Cacao specifically went after this.
I know Cacao went after. I was told Cacao went after. So Cacao went after the private servers, and PA went after. I believe it's PA went after the actual hacker who did the who created PixBDO.
Okay.
But yeah, so like from talking to the private servers guys, they were telling me it was Cacao that was going after them and trying to get it taken down. But yeah, so like, you know, I've seen like the developers and publishers going after these guys, but the BDO Codex BD database hasn't been gone after. It's still up. It's totally fine. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so me sharing with the community isn't all that bad. It's probably fine. And so then fast forward to November, and
of 2017.
November 2017.
Yeah.
There was a patch. What patch was it? It was after Comma Sylvia Part 1. But there was a patch that released, and there was a file called Game Data Sheets Unpacked. I was like, this is new. I wonder what this is. So I extracted it, and it was everything that I shared. And so I actually went to one of the guys who actually kind of I used to talk to with all this stuff and like kind of taught me how to pretty much go through this stuff. I was like, hey, I found this sheet. I got to show you. And I was like, look at this stuff. And originally I was not going to tell anybody because, I mean, I was like, this is a lot of stuff I got to go through to see if anything's actually real.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, so I found the actual hidden stats for each item. So I was like, okay, I was like, I need to share this. Like, I don't feel comfortable keeping it to myself. I feel like that's kind of wrong. So I shared that.
Hold on. Let's stretch this out a little bit. So we all had an idea of like Zarka had, you know, hidden damage over Laverto. That was one of my favorite World Chat memes, is Laverto and Zarka have the same damage. Why are you kids so worried about Zarka? Right? So there was stuff out there that we kind of knew, and then like we'd know that like some things had, you know, more evasion or more DR or stuff like that. But like, I guess there was always that skepticism out there. So we all kind of, this was information that when you looked at this information before it's public, did you go, oh shit, we've been right? Or like, people need to see this because we were fucking wrong? You know,
both.
Okay.
Some stuff was like, oh damn. And then like, you know, I looked at Kudum and then I was like, yeah, so a lot of people that have been saying certain things about Kudum being completely useless isn't entirely true, things of that nature. And so first, when I first found it and stuff, when I shared it with my friend, then I actually sent it to, I'll ask you, do you think I should, I won't say exactly who I sent it to, but I sent it to somebody at Cacao. And I said, hey man, this stuff probably shouldn't be here. Just giving you a heads up. And he's like, okay, thanks. I'll send it to the people that are supposed to deal with it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, I felt bad not sharing it. But then I was like, I'll wait to see if they actually fix this first, you know. And they actually pushed out a hotfix. But the hotfix wasn't to fix that. Their hotfix was literally to fix a text issue in the Pro Shop. Like there was one word misspelled. And they fixed that instead.
Do you think so? Was part of the information that you mined like they would change enhancement rates, you know, depending on what came out and what your drop rates based off what your character level was and stuff like that? Was it that part of the stuff that you data mined?
No. So enhancement rates are actually part of the server config. Well, sort of. You can see like the data sheet will show you like some stuff are client-sided, some stuff are server-sided, and then the data sheet is kind of just like a database, so to speak, of all the stats or a majority of the stats in the game and whatnot. But it did show enhancement rates, which is kind of weird because the enhancement rates that it showed did not have any reference of a fail stack whatsoever compared to the old sheets that used to show fail stacks and all that. This one just didn't even have a fail stack column. Which to me, I still like get really confused about to this day. I still think about, but yeah. After they sent the hotfix and they didn't fix it, I was like, well, must not be that big of an issue because obviously they still aren't fixing it. And that's when I shared it with the community. And to my knowledge, still to this day, to my knowledge, from people that I know that have contact with various employees at Kakao. I was told from them that I wasn't going to get banned. They had originally decided not to ban me, from what I was, to my knowledge, that day, and that's why I didn't get banned instantly.
Hold on, let me lead you with some questions to get all the information here.
Okay.
So you decided to send this information out because you thought it was pertinent to the community, maybe equal parts to you had a reasonable understanding that you weren't going to get banned because you talked to somebody and they're like, it's cool, it's out there, that's fine.
No. So I asked somebody first. I told them that, hey, it's
let's
here.
leave names out of this. Just you've asked, like, let's leave everybody's name out of this. Let's talk. You're the one that got nailed to the cross.
Yeah.
So your name is the only one that comes up.
So I told them originally, hey, this is in the client, and no, it shouldn't be here. And they said, okay, we're going to send it to the guys that are supposed to take care of this.
Okay.
I continued looking through it.
The text came through, and it was like, that wasn't, you were supposed to fix it, you didn't fix it.
Yeah. Then I was like, I felt bad not sharing, because I've shared other stuff. I in my mind, I thought if I were to share it, I didn't think I was going to get banned. And I felt like I shouldn't have kept it to myself. So I was like, okay, I need to share this. So I shared that. And then I was like, I was going through the rest of the files and I was like, wow, this is a lot of stuff. I can't go through this alone. And so then I said, well, hey guys, if anybody wants to help me out and go through this stuff, you can. I created, instead of just like sharing like just the enhancement rates, I shared the rest of the hidden stats. And then that's when I was like, you know what, let me at least try to kind of keep everybody without, like, keep it from people finding stuff and keeping it to themselves. I created the community. I had the Discord, and so I had people was like, hey, if you guys want to help out, you can. This is the Discord, but we're going to share with everybody. We're not going to keep it to ourselves. And then I got messaged by somebody who was like, hey, I have some, well, first, that's when originally, I guess, Kakao or PA.
Hold on. Before we get into this, were you streaming at the time?
Originally, at first, no. Then I turned on the stream to go through it.
Okay, so right when this shit started, when you were like, I'm going to share this, you started turning the stream back on?
No, a little while after.
After the ban?
No. I didn't get banned right away. The ban came in the next day.
Okay. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's good. So after I posted on Reddit, then I was like, I've gone through the regular data sheets that don't show the hidden stats on stream previous times when I was sharing with fusion skills and things of that nature. And also when I shared like the enchant difficulty differences. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to turn on the stream now. That way it's easier to interact between different people that can potentially help and find something else. And so, and I didn't think anything of it because, like I said, I've done this previously, just didn't have as much data, and I didn't even have to worry about getting banned previously. So I was like, okay, we're good. Then the original post got deleted by a mod on Reddit. And so then I was contacted from a friend who supposedly knows some people at Kakao, and they were like, hey, right now they're just checking to make sure you don't have any negative intent, like ill intent towards the company or anything of that nature. That's what I was told. And I was like, well, yeah, there's no negative intent. And then they're like, I would recommend you not mentioning, or I would recommend you not directly linking the sheet on stream. And that's when actually a Twitch staff came into my stream. And then I was talking to him. I was like, hey, do you know if this is okay for me to share, or should I not? He's like, yeah, I'd recommend you not showing it on stream either.
Oh, hold on. You had Twitch staff come into your stream?
Yeah, but I feel like that was
partnered?
No, that was just before I got partnered.
Oh, fuck. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So I guess I skipped over a part. Originally when I first started the stream, I actually got I had on the community folder, I had another tab that people can actually type in to if they had like, you know, anything that they wanted to share. It was open to the public. Mistake number one. When I did that, somebody posted some nudes in there. So when I clicked on it on stream, it showed it. I accidentally like clicked out of it. But right after that, I got like a temporary ban. I don't remember how long it was.
It was for 24 hours, I'm sure. Lucari just suffered the same thing not too long ago. That shit happens. Yeah, that's. And
fun. So then, the next day, like I went back on stream. That's when Twitch staff came up. So I think this Twitch staff came more because I was probably getting like mass reported again because of the nude stuff. But either way, he was like, yeah, I'd recommend you not mentioning this or showing that stuff on stream, just like the person who PM'd me that said that they were talking to people from Cacao. So I said, okay. I didn't show any of that stuff on stream. I like, if people ask me any questions, I basically would be like, hey, I can't say this on stream. If you want to join the Discord, you guys can talk about it there and things of that nature. I pretty much just alluded them to go to the Discord. And yeah, so I was grinding Montrums that next day, and randomly I started lagging and it said, you have been disconnected by a server operator. So that's when I was like, okay.
Yikes.
And then a minute later, I forgot who it was, posted on, I still have yet to get an actual email saying, hey, you've been banned. But somebody posted, one of the employees posted on the BDO, like the actual official forums, pretty much saying, hey, so somebody broke TOS. Technically, this is what they did to break TOS. And so they're banned. But then that's when I kind of found it kind of odd that I was like, why did they wait so long for me to ban? It's been well over 24 hours. And then that's when I got PM'd by 3 other people that had contact with various Cacao employees. And I was told, I was told a few different things. One person said that's when the whole blame shifting started. So one person said it was PA side. Then another person said it was Cacao side. And then the third person said it was PA's decision. And there was 2 people from Cacao that was actually flying over to Korea to talk to them and see what they could do. I don't know. But yeah, so then like after that, that's when I started to talk to Bong and a few other Korean streamers, and they emailed PA, and all of them got the same kind of copy pasta saying it was a decision from Cacao. So like I like everyone that I talk to kind of have different. It's just like kind of one side says one thing, another side says the other. So now it's like for a while I was just like so confused as to who's actually made the decision, because obviously it wasn't because from what I was told originally I wasn't going to get banned, and then somebody I guess higher up was like, nope, never mind, we're overruling it, you're getting banned. But yeah, so that was the start of the Free Blue and Bluegate.
So can we get personal with this for a second? Like let's talk about, you overnight basically turned into the savior. I mean, there's something palpable. Like I'm gonna hit I in my game right now. I'm right over my pen Gaiath because that's a meme, and I can see evasion 28 parentheses 60. That is legitimately because of you. Like, you've had the biggest impact on this game ever. Nobody will have a bigger impact. It doesn't matter if you're a streamer, if you're this, if you're that. Unless you are actually making this game, you have had the biggest impact possible. And then you get banned for it. And you're basically outcasted. This whole Free Blue and all these, protests and roundtables and all this stuff happens. How do you feel about the game? How does it affect you? You put this on stream. I'm sure your stream was doing very well when that was going on. People were watching and interacting. You love the game, and then they ban you. What's going through your head?
So my instant reaction was like just confused, because like it just like getting banned was like not what I was being told was like. It was like I wasn't gonna be banned, and I just got banned. So I kind of was confused, and at one point I was thinking like, fuck, dude, like I was just like, I'm fuck it, I'm just not gonna play the game, right? That was my initial reaction. Was like, well, I'm just not gonna play the game. But at the same time, when I first got banned, if I'm being honest, like a little part of me was like, well, fuck these guys. I'm just gonna, because I had like 4 or 5 other accounts at the time. I was like, I'm just gonna go on my alt account, and then I hid my name, and like for a little bit, I was doing that. It was more of a kind of just to say fuck you to whoever banned me. If I'm being 100% honest.
Okay, so did you have a KR account at the time?
Actually, at the time, I had my original KR account.
Did that get banned?
No, it didn't.
Okay, so I didn't know that was.
I stopped using that account.
Okay, yeah, it's smart. They're watching you.
Yeah, because like I stopped using because I was like, okay, this one's technically not under any of my information at all. There's no way. Like I literally didn't like when I decided that I was going to continue playing. I didn't want to give them a reason to ban me on KR, since technically this was done with NA client, so technically no KR TOS was broken. So, but yeah, I went through this like that night after I finished the stream. I was just like, or that day, I was just like, kind of just trying to decide what I wanted to do, because I mean, it was either because I was basically like, okay, so I don't really have any other game that I could play that I like doing. I don't like playing CS:GO. I'm sick of hearing it. Sick of hearing League of Legends, Overwatch, any esport game. I was sick of hearing. And there was no other MMO that I've ever actually enjoyed besides Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I mean, that's not really a active game. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep playing BDO because I enjoy it. But at the same time, I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep playing NA yet. So that's when I talked to a few of my Korean friends who helped me to get a Korean phone number, and helped me to get kind of an account. Because right now you can actually create an account under your information on the website, but you can't play until you link a Korean phone number. So friends of mine helped me to go through the process to get that. So then I got that, and I started play on a Korean account. And then finally I hear back, I want to say, a couple weeks later or maybe a month later, I hear back that I finally get a reply to my message, my support ticket, and it gets told, you're welcome to play BD. Oh, no, hold on. Actually, I don't want to misquote, so let me actually, I have a command.
Pull this shit up, man. Hell yes.
All right, so here we go. They said,
what took you so long?
I had to type the command out. While we will not retract legitimate permanent bans, we welcome players that are passionate enough about the game to be willing to start over on a clean slate. So to me, that was like, to me in my eyes, I was like, hey, so yeah, we're banning because of something that you did, not your account did.
But buy your inventory slots over again.
Yeah, like because I have put way too much money in the game, if I'm being honest. Well over $5,000. And so it was like, yeah. I had every single Ranger outfit and a ton of dyes because on release, there was no value pack. There was no Merv's palette. And a friend of mine, we used to compete on who had the most dyes.
We were just fucking talking about that. I was talking about that with somebody that may not be named and Black Rose Sasha. We were talking about how there was another game, another company where, being dyed all the same color, and when the dyes were popular, that was the thing. And when you could sell dyes on the marketplace, that was kind of a thing. And Korean MMOs kind of have a thing with dyes, and that's where we all spend our money and all that stuff. So you spend all this money. They send you this email that goes, hey, fuck you, but also spend another $5,000 with us and you're fine. Yeah.
And so at that time, I was like, okay, I'm not spending a single dollar in the game. I'll continue playing, but not doing that. But I had already decided to make Korea my main region. So I pretty much just got invested into Korea. And then it kind of started like, they started to fix the servers and stuff. So I was like, okay, so at least it looks like they're somewhat trying to at least do something good for the game. That was my biggest thing was like, people were asking me at the time, like, hey, we want to donate to you, or hey, how can we help support you and stuff.
So
and
people have gifted you like inventory slots and weights
no,
and stuff like that.
no, they wanted to, but I told them like pretty much instead, just help out somebody else that's newer to the game, since I kind of already have like a lot of understanding how to get by without all that stuff. So I was basically just like, instead just help somebody else out, help somebody who's newer to the game, spend the time on them instead. Just to kind of like, because like ultimately this whole entire thing was never like a thing of like selfishness.
Are you really that fucking nice? Are you really that fucking nice? Do you still have like
at the
stock
time
inventory? Okay, right. So you've got
well,
some
I still
inventory
have
slots.
actually. So like on my lawn, for example, I only have 58 inventory slots and 621 weight. Well, actually, let me take off my gear to see how much it is. So yeah, 501 weight without any gear, and only 58 slots. Like for the most part, I like if somebody asks now, I'll say okay. But for the most part, I kind of don't ask for it. I don't tell people to give me anything.
Family name Evil Blue. Send this
Oh
kid some fucking inventory and weight slots right the fuck now. Don't sub to my channel. Don't donate to me. Don't do anything. Send this fucking hero of this game some fucking quality of life shit right the fuck now.
Nah, I'm good. Because
No,
so
you're gonna get it. No, you're 100% gonna get it.
Oh my god! I decided to actually just invest. Like, so what I realized I needed to do is once I decided I was going to spend some money on the game again, I just bought storage mates because I mean, to be 100% honest, they're basically universal weight. And so like I have like 6 storage mates. So I got by, and then since I was pretty much on my laptop for 7 months of AFK, I pretty much just used AFK processing to make a lot of money, to get gear, to try to snipe stuff on the marketplace when I wasn't streaming. So like I'd say I'm in a pretty good spot, and then at the same time, I did spend money to get pets and stuff. So I'd say I'm in a pretty good spot to where I don't really. It's not like I really need anything.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to fucking like Jesus Christ. That's such a dog shit fucking stance to take. Hey, thanks for your $5,000. I mean, that's such a League of Legends Riot Games stance. You said get out of my fucking lane, so we're gonna take your account that's worth $5,000. But you can just make another account and buy more skins and champions, right? Like, so let me get, maybe this might be toxic. If you had to pick, do you think PA is the one that really dug down on this, or do you think Cacao? Because there's two sides to this coin. Who do you really think was the enemy in this whole situation?
That's kind of hard for me to say, because like part of me wants to say PA, because like I've heard from so many different people that Cal's actually kind of cool with me, so to speak, but they just are being pressured by PA not to do anything.
Has Cacao ever has Richter speak? Richter is nope. Everybody knows Richter. Richter's never spoken to you directly, right?
Nope.
Okay, so
yeah, like it's kind of this weird thing, because I've heard so much that's saying it's PA. And then I've heard so much from like, it's not even like it's just random people telling me this. They're all really, how do I call it? They're all really truthful, and they're all like somebody I can actually believe. And I've seen people that have told me it was PA. Some people told me it was Cacao. And the thing about it, if it was PA, I feel like I would have been banned in KR. I'm sure they would have probably tried to find some way to ban me in KR if they could have. If they like, personally, a part of me was like, well, maybe they just don't care as much, but it's obviously they care, because like they've gone so far as to pretty much essentially blacklist me from anything that has to do with Cacao and PA whatsoever. So I don't know, if I had to pick, I think it might be somebody that maybe works for one of them. I honestly think that there's two things that I personally think is maybe it's somebody that maybe works for Cacao, but kind of has to follow the interest of what PA has, or like, so just somebody high up, or just maybe there's some kind of like lost in translation thing to where maybe the original decision was made by PA, but then like nothing's been asked since, so they just kind of just go with what the original decision was.
I mean, that's how it works, right? So I can respect where Cacao is, and I'm not. I mean, this is about you, and you got fucked. you know, you just got straight fucked. And so I'm the middleman in my real life job where it's, you know, the PA overlord tells me, you know, in this analogy, I'm Cacao, to tell the player base how things are going to go, which is my customer. So I can understand where they're powerless, but also you can, as Cacao, you can say, hey, this guy right here really fucked up and he needs to get the fuck out of this game, right? So there's a couple different ways this can lay down. I just didn't know if you had some sort of information about, you know, Cacao thinks you're great and PA just went, no, we can't have this, or whatever the case was. But because I guess everything at this point is just conjecture and moving forward and all that kind of stuff, because obviously you're streaming the game, you're playing the game, and you're not just getting banned every time you turn the game on, which is at some level I think I almost may have expected. With the
That's actually what I expected too.
Yeah.
That's why my overlay, like if you look, like if my overlay hides my level, and for the most part, I don't really like to have my crosshair out, right? I don't really like to have my name out anyways. Like my overlay originally was made, I created it because I wanted to hide the level while keep everything there. And I mean, now I just kind of like it, so I keep it. But yeah, like originally I thought I was gonna get banned.
Well, you should have told me that before I called out your family name and had your shit on stream this
Oh, no, like I don't really care anymore. Like if I get banned in an A, it's gonna suck because like, so when I first got banned, I had just became I became a guild leader about a month beforehand, and I got the guild that I was a guild leader of to the point where we were doing node wars. We were pretty strong for like 30 of us. We ended up like for 3 weeks, it was basically constantly us in 1v2s, but we were able to at least stalemate for the most part. So I got them to a pretty strong point, and I was like slowly working towards getting them even stronger, getting more players. And then I got banned, right? So like it would really suck if history repeated itself, and then I got banned now that I got DGAF and I'm like starting to bring it up. It would really suck, but I think I'm in the clear in the A now.
I think you
at
are
least
too,
I'll just play it.
From the conversations I've had, because I actually talked to Cacao, like I mentioned before, about speaking with you. It's like, you know, I'm a fresh BDO partner, but I'm about to talk to, you know, the bad boy of BDO. Is everything okay? They're like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. Because
yeah,
I love you. I want to talk to you. But I also don't want to get in fucking trouble either.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It sucks because I actually applied for BDO partner, but then I sent a message to somebody and I was like, hey, so since I applied, because I had originally, like, you know, I don't know if you remember, they sent an email out after originally they said, hey, we got your application. Like a while later, they said, hey, we got your application. We're still going through stuff. You'll get another email once we accept the application for whatever. And so then I had replied, I was like, hey, so because of everything that's happened, I don't break TOS anymore. Am I still going to be like considered? Yeah. I was like, am I still going to be considered? And I actually never got an email back. So then I messaged the person on Twitter, never got a reply. So I was like, okay, so I think it's safe to say, at that point, it's kind of when I knew. I was like, I think it's safe to say I'm pretty much blacklisted. And then I kind of got like the nail in the coffin when it came to this 10K tournament, because I actually knew about it previously.
I don't know if they'll ever say it to you directly, but I can promise you it won't happen.
Yeah.
They're never going to speak to you directly. You may be blacklisted. I don't know if that's a thing, but they will never speak to you directly. I'm so fucking proud of you, dude. You've accomplished more in your life than I ever will. I'm just going to say that. I wish I could have a game as mad at me as they are at you. I'm just not fucking smart enough, man. That's incredible. They were me becoming I had to do the whole reform thing to be a BDO partner, so I kind of understand that message you had to send.
Yeah, and it's funny though, because so obviously because of everything that I did, I had like some people kind of saw me as somebody who just doesn't care about the company or the game, or like just wants. Or like not necessarily doesn't care about the game, but doesn't care about the company, right? They some people kind of saw me as somebody who just said "fuck you, PA Cacao," but it's not entirely true. Like, you know, I can see when they start to try to at least try to make a change for good, or they trying to do. And so like when I try to, sometimes I'll like kind of stand up for them when they're just getting shit on sometimes, and then instantly I get told, "Oh my God, you changed," blah blah. I was like, wait, what? I'm still the same person. I just don't necessarily hate the company.
So let me get to that in a second. There was a good question in chat. He didn't break TOS on Twitch, right?
No. No.
It was TOS within the game. He got data that was not publicly available and then spread it through his Discord. And he kind of used Twitch as a means for that, but it was an open secret. If I can kind of funnel it into that simple of a statement. And
I actually put it on Google Drive for everybody. So like
Google Drive.
It was like I wasn't trying to keep it like I kept it like pretty much open and then shared it with Koreans. It hit Korea, Japan, Taiwan. Like every region actually was able to see this information, which actually kind of bugged me because when they actually like kind of addressed it in that producer's letter, they said that in order to keep it public for everybody, instead of anything with it, like in order to keep anybody from having an advantage, they decided that they're going to put it in the game, which it kind of bugged me because like I was like I made sure that that's the whole reason why I did what I did was so that nobody had a hidden advantage, you know?
Right. So the reason you got the 24-hour Twitch ban was the accidental boobs.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is an appropriate response from Twitch. I think if we all have to be honest, because you have to, whether you meant to or not, you have to get banned for that because you can't allow that. So that was fine. That wasn't something he did on purpose. He wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna show boobs on my Twitch. You know, it was some fuckboy did it. If you find another leak or someone tells you, will you show everybody? Yeah. So this was kind of a closing question I had for you, but I'll take it since it was in chat. Would you fucking do this again?
Okay, so if I knew the how do I say this? If I knew the outcome of just like actually changing the game, which in my opinion, I think for the better, I definitely would. I mean, it sucks as a content creator, like kind of being like, for lack of better words, kind of blacklisted from the companies that make the game that's your main game for the content creator. But at the same time, I think overall it just did a lot better for the company. So as much as it sucked for me personally, I definitely would still continue. I would do it again just to, you know, make sure that it's, you know,
I really do think what you did, if I can give my personal opinion on this, I think because I didn't know who you were, obviously, or what you did. I saw this free Blue shit, and I'm like, it's another fucking protest. Who cares? He got banned, whatever. You know, I wasn't paying attention. But now that I'm like dug into all this and I'm a fucking BDO partner for whatever that means and all this kind of stuff, I see what you did and I can hit my inventory and you know, we have a better understanding of the game. And I just, it's so incredible to me that in that you're still playing this game and all this stuff. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Because I think if a game banned me the way that they banned you, I would tell them to fucking pound sand as hard as I'd respond to that email that they didn't or didn't send to me and just say every explicit I possibly could. Like, I just couldn't deal with that. Really couldn't deal with that.
That was actually what I was originally going to do. Just do a big fuck you to PA and be just cacao. But I kind of realized, like, I don't really want to do that because it's not in my nature. I'm not.
It doesn't like do anything either, right? You know? Like, it just, you just look like an asshole, right? Like, and you're 23, you said, right?
24.
24. If I was 23 or 24, I'd be telling him to just fucking turn inside out, man. I'd hold no quarter. But so, let's get a little more constructive. So without listing any names, if you took a look at kind of the BDO partners as a whole and kind of what we're going through and all that kind of stuff, would you say that, how do I word this appropriately? I'm concerned that maybe as a whole, the people that are representing BDO as a streaming community might be getting a little toxic in light of their own personal opinion. Do you feel that us as BDO partners are correct in the way that we're presenting these issues? Saying that, you know, the pay to win that we have isn't fair or is breaking the game, or we're not getting the context that we should with Dragon Win or the next class, or are our expectations too far out from reality in developing a video game? Is that too complicated of a question? Am I putting you too far in a pedestal for that?
No, I think I understand. I think like for the first part, when you ask, like, if you feel like the partners are correct in the way that they're expressing their opinions, I think that's kind of what you were asking. I feel like, from my understanding, just from I guess my point of view of everything, it seems to be like there is some kind of lack of, or it just seems like this is kind of their only way to sort of express their opinion. From my understanding, from talking to various video partners, unfortunately, at the moment, it doesn't seem like there's a huge open line of communication that they can do besides openly express it via their streams and whatnot. I feel like as a video partner, though, you should have, while you should be free to express your own opinion, I feel like you should at least think about how you do it. And if it's a negative opinion, it's great to share it because, it's your opinion, it's your own opinion. But at the same time, I'm sure you can do it with some kind of caution so it doesn't come off as completely just toxic, right? If you think it is pay to win, that's totally understandable. If you don't think it's a good idea, that's totally understandable. But to go and just create this entire toxic environment just because you don't agree with the decisions, I feel like it's a whole other thing that some people should probably not, or should kind of consider when they're trying to express their opinion on the matter.
So given what you've gone through and seeing that Kakao has taken, specifically through Richter and maybe one or two other CMs, a real interest in not only the streamers but the community and going into guild discords and stuff like that, how do you feel about that, considering what you went through, your own personal perspective, and now Kakao's kind of digging in, after Chimney Gate and all that kind of stuff? Is that a positive sign to you, or are you jaded against, anything that these companies do?
That was actually something I was thinking about the other day. I actually kind of saw Richter's Twitch account. I was looking at to see who he was following and stuff. And I'd be lying if I didn't say part of me was a little jaded, kind of not completely envious, but sort of
yeah, man, be honest. What the fuck? Are they going to ban your second account? Who fucking cares, man? Go on. This is your time.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to say in a manner that I could say. So I'd be lying if I didn't say part of me was, I guess, a little bit salty about, one, who they picked as video partners, and the fact that just now it seems like they're starting to actually give a crap. It feels like, compared to previously. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little salty about it, but at the same time, the rational side of me is at least they're doing something rather than just letting it kind of just be a free for all kind of thing. At least it seems at least that they're trying now. So in my, I think it's a good thing that they're trying now, right? It would suck to see them just not try whatsoever, even after everything. I think just part of me kind of wishes that they had been doing this from before everything, because I feel like maybe we could have had, there could have been another route to take with everything that happened. And I'm sure if there was more action on PA and Kakao previously, that maybe, just maybe, we probably could have had a similar outcome without me having to be the one to share it and get banned for it. But at the same time, at least, I guess I'm just happy at least they're trying now. So it looks like at least maybe there might be a positive future for the community with the interaction that they're having with Kakao.
At this point, would it matter if your previous account got unbanned?
Yes, but not so much for the account being unbanned. It'd be more if they were to be okay, you know what, I'm going to unban your account. I guess it would matter more if the for lack of better words, the blacklisting was no longer there, right? That's ultimately what I wish was no longer there. They would
talk to you and recognize that you're playing, BDO, helping people. You're very active with your streaming, and people ask you questions that I'm sure I asked you tonight about, you know, what's it like to be in KR, which server's better. I'm sure I didn't ask you any super highbrow questions that you haven't been asked on, you know. Shout out to WTFBloo, by the way, is his Twitch if you want to follow him. How many 24-hour streams have you done, by the way?
Well, I lost count, if I'm being honest.
This guy streams
I
a
lost
lot.
count.
I had to ask him what country he lived in because of his streaming habits. I'd wake up at 5 in the morning and he'd be turning his stream on. I'm like, what time zone are you in, dude? Like, what are you doing? So if you're looking for good content, you know, a quality dude that has literally shaped this game, that's the whole reason. I'm honored to be able to talk to you for, oh my God, it's almost been 2 hours. You know, the bad boy of BDO. I think that's your name. I think that's your title. Is you're the bad boy of BDO. Kind of has a ring to it, doesn't it?
Definitely. B, triple B, big baller brand.
So let's talk about your stream for a little bit. Where are you right now with your stream? What are you looking to do? And, you know, are you happy with BDO, especially with the changes? Are you looking to move on with that, with your stream? You know, where are you?
I mean, so if I'm being honest, there are times where I kind of get to a point where I almost kind of just like kind of wake up when I think about my stream and just think like, what's the point in playing BDO because of everything that's happened? But at the same time, like, I think I enjoy the game too much to just not play it. So I'm definitely going to continue playing it on stream. There are times where I don't want to. And I mean, when I get to that point, I kind of just switch to a different game. But I think in terms of where I'm at with my stream, I think I'm grateful because, you know, even though everything that's happened with the company and the publisher and developer, you know, there's still a lot of people in the community that still, you know, support me and my stream and hang out in the chat and stuff. And I mean, I do recognize the situation I'm in though. And I do know that eventually it might eventually get to a point where I kind of have to go into another game if I want to, how do I call it? If I want to increase or if I want to grow, I might have to, you know, swap into other games. And so that's actually kind of why somebody asked in the chat earlier, asked me why I changed my name. And that's actually why is because I kind of like, as much as I enjoy the game, as much as I wish that I could just play this game and, you know, get similar kind of like, you know, become a BDO partner, do a lot more in the community with Kakao. You know, unfortunately, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And so, like, as I'm going to continue trying to do different things in the community with or without Kakao's help. But at the same time, I do recognize, like, you know, I might get to a point where I kind of just need to swap over. So I changed my name, changed my branding a bit, so I'm not just known for BDO. That way, it's a little bit of an easier time to try to transition without having my branding being, you know, BDO Blue instead of just WTFBloo. So it's like, I mean, the what the fuck part kind of gets some laughs, but at the same time, I still keep Blue.
it fits. It does fit.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just slowly trying to. I'm kind of testing waters about potentially transitioning into outside of like doing more things outside of BDO, while still wanting to continue doing things with the community in BDO. So kind of just in and out, kind of half and half.
So let me open this up to questions right now, and then I'll ask you, you know, your opinion on what's been going on with the game. How do you feel about, you know, we've been dancing around pay to win and how it relates to KR and all that kind of stuff, but how do you really feel about the, you know, the past couple weeks of patches as a whole?
Okay, so in terms of the pay to win stuff, a lot of people ask me, and if I'm being 100% honest, I don't really care. I feel like if anybody remembers, like back in like the Media days when Media was first being released, PA has been telling us then that they want to get a global build, not a global server, because I think some people may have gotten that confused, but they want to get a global build with, like, you know, basically the same thing in every region, right? And if you look at it, every region but us had the Valks. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe every region but us had the Valks Cries, the Kron Stones. We were the only, like, NAEU as a similar region was the only region that didn't have it. So it was bound to come. I mean, people that I know since, like, you know, Calpheon Media days, they were all saying the same thing, right? Like once BDO maybe started to slow in growth, once less players were playing or something, eventually it's going to come. And I think we kind of just hit a point to where, hey, look, it's here now. It was inevitable in my opinion. And so I don't think causing a big ruckus or a fuss is definitely, I don't think it's like, if you look at CM Cervantes made a post. I'm just going to say his name because the post is public.
Fine.
He made the post and he basically kind of shifted the blame to PA. From my understanding of the post, it pretty much was like, hey, we wanted to push for Kaffir Stones, but PA was like, if you want Kaffir Stones, if you want these kind of things, we need to give you Voucher Horizon, Cronstone Extraction. And so it kind of seems like it was a PA move. So I feel like it was inevitable.
So now that we have a clear understanding that KR has a cap per account on what they can spend per month to get pay to win, it's official that NAEU is the pay to win capital of this game. You can literally swipe your fucking trust fund until it's dry.
No, I believe it's Taiwan or Russia that actually doesn't have the weekly cap and doesn't have like a monthly money account.
Okay,
so
Russia.
Actually...
So we're number 2 to Russia. So we're not going to have that full pin Ninja Boy necessarily. But if somebody has that credit card, they can swipe it until it turns on fire, right? Like,
yeah, I saw somebody who failed like, I think it was like 12 Tet Tandy attempts and he finally got on the 13th all within a matter of like a minute or two. I think it's like, it's kind of weird because like, it's like, yes, I think maybe it should be capped. But then if you think about it, it's like, the cap, how will it go if you cap it? Like, it's going to be the same thing that KR is, where you just literally just use an alt account, send it, unless they were to fix it in KR to where you can't gift items. But they actually tried that at one point. There was a point to where you weren't able to gift for a little bit, but that got fixed. I don't know if that was actually a bug or if they was intended.
Yeah, it can be pay to win if you don't know how to use your gear, because you can just hit a couple of play a striker, shift F with fucking 290 AP and see what happens. Like that's
fake.
Yeah, there's, and every class has that skill, right? Grave digging on a warrior, just whatever on a Maewa, just every class has that skill. And so there 100% is. So even if I have to make it harder for these trust fund kids that have no jobs and doing whatever they're doing to have 5, 6, 7 accounts, and they go, oh, I don't want to remember an 8th password. At least they're spending $2,500 a month instead of $15,000 as fast as they can fucking swipe. Because 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 to 20 of those people ruin the fucking game in the siege scene, right? Like, would you want to play on Russia servers knowing that there's a full pin ninja on it?
I think it'd be cool to have that kind of cap, but I can already tell you the next headline, if they were to do that, would be Cacao or PA, whichever one they want to target, pretty much wants even more money to where if you want to pay to win, now you have to buy another account to pay to win.
But so what's the answer here? Are we just?
I don't think there is an answer.
Are we really just like, this is now a pay to win game?
I think the issue is there isn't like unfortunately there's no real answer, other than if they were to get rid of gifting and make the the limit each month, and then you would no longer be able to gift the items. But then you kind of have this issue where what if you wanted to gift your friend that's new, send him items, or if they limited gifting. I feel like if you limited the amount of money you can put and limit the amount of gifting you can do, that could potentially kind of, at least put a cap on how much money you can really get. But at the same time, you have the people that. See, it's just, I don't think there is any answer that they would actually be able to do to really do a real hard limit on how much money people can, get. How much people can actually get with pay to win.
Annoyed Cherry says Moreland's stream yesterday was gifting him costumes so he could meme pen attempts.
Oh yeah, I heard. But I don't think there's an actual solution, or I don't think there's a viable solution that would actually be done or could be done.
I think what's fucking terrible that, I have to say is that if I was the GM of Aftershock right now, I'd hate this a lot fucking more. Like the gear gap that's about to happen because of this. You know, because
Yeah.
the Black Rose won't recruit anybody under soft cap. There's just, I mean, that's just what it is, and they shouldn't. That's not a pay to win thing. It's just where Black Rose is, along with Vertex and a couple other guilds.
You know what's really funny about that? I'm sorry, I do a lot of comparisons to Korea just because, you know, but like actually, so the top, what I actually consider is probably the number 1, number 2 guild in Korea right now, just because they beat in 1v1. They actually, they're like, the amount that you need to have, the requirement is only, I want to say it was like 560 or 570. It was only like soft cap, but their average here is like 280, 290. So it's like, it's funny to hear, because like I hear like, you know, Snake has a certain amount that you need, and it's like, it's crazy because their average here isn't as high, but it's a higher requirement to join. And like, I'm actually like, it's really fun to see those comparisons personally, like from like different regions, how it actually varies with their Siege Guild requirements.
I'm not sure Vertex really cared about how I fared with my skill. You know, I think they saw me on stream struggling in large scale, but I think overall they were like, you know, your gear is going to be on the lower end, so, you know,
Yeah.
I think Snake did the same thing. And then Black Rose was like, so we do this PvP thing, and a third of the guild comes out, and let's see what the boys think of you. And I guess I did something right. They saw potential. They knew who I was. I don't know what it was, but I got into Black Rose. So thank God. You know, I don't think I'm like, yeah, I'm Tim Allen. Of course I got into Black Rose. But it's just interesting to me that, you know, with all this pay to win, that could potentially happen. We'll see how many whales we actually have. But, you know, in a month or so time, you know, if somebody really doesn't care, or it just has that Amex that just, you know, they'll just, somebody else pays off every month, you know, until they get fucking V all the way around, or at least, you know, the weapons. But because right now in NA, there's only one stat, right? I don't know how it is in KR, but in NA, there's only one stat, and that's AP. So
It's funny. That's also like a really funny thing. In KR, there isn't. Like, people have resistance builds, people have hybrid builds, but at the same time, those hybrid builds that they have require more than just soft cap, right? Because I mean, I guess I think it's just because the higher average gear, like, you know, like I said, node war guilds are 250, 260 AP. So like the hybrid builds that I'm like, a lot of people like actually kind of laugh sometimes when I mention, oh yeah, I'm working on a hybrid build for my LAN and NA. I'm just going straight towards it.
Yeah, I fucking laughed at you, dude. You were like, I'm gonna get Narc earrings. I'm like, okay, kid. Jesus Christ. We're gonna cancel this podcast because you think Narc earrings are good.
Yeah, but like, you know, I'm basically just looking at the people that like, you know, I'm not like sitting at just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna get like soft cap type gear for this hybrid build. But it's like I'm more along the lines of looking at kind of like later on
the lines. Yeah. Is that what you just said? You just said along the lines. Okay, thank you for that.
But yeah, like, you know, there's this there's actually, so one of the highest geared who last season in PvP and Sieges, they were considered the number 1, number 2 guild. The guild leader is actually on LAN, and I got a chance to talk to them. And, you know, they were talking, they're like, yeah, LAN can't do well as standard AP, which was like, yeah, that's totally true. So I was like, what do you do? And, you know, he's like, oh, I go hybrid. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, fuck everybody else. But, you know, when I started to talk to him about his gear, it's like, he has 1 pin in a Roche ring. He has a Tet Crescent, which is he's working on getting it to pin. He has a pin Seraps, a Tet Valtara belt, 2 Tet Narcs, but he's working on getting those to pin weapons. You know, it's like these gear is so much higher. So it's like, it makes sense because you can do a hybrid build with 260 AP and still be a lot tankier than your standard your standard 260 AP person.
Do you feel smarter or dumber for having the same class in both servers?
So I actually have a 61 Maywa and a 61 Giant in an A.
Okay.
I wanted, because I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of AFK stuff, I wanted to increase the daily pay as much as I can. So I basically got some classes up. I wanted to have the Kaposha ring. I wanted the Karana earrings as backup. So I have some classes, and like I played other classes. I just don't have any other class that I enjoy. So that's why I still play lawn. Like I enjoy, like I love the fuck out of Ranger, but I'm grateful right now. I have a friend who's 277. Oh no, I think he failed something. So I think he's 270, 272 now. I don't remember now, but he's a high geared Ranger who pretty much, there are a lot of times he can't go to Node Wars or Sieges. So if there's this time that I'm not streaming, I'll play as Ranger for him on for Node Wars and Sieges and KR. So like because I'm able to play that, I really don't have the need to play a Ranger.
Okay, so you're not playing your lawn. You're noting in your lawn? Are you doing that? Okay. Are you sieging on your lawn?
No, we don't do Siege. When I go and play with my friend's account, I pretty much use his Ranger for Siege.
Would you want to siege on a lawn?
Yes. If I can have the gear that I want, I think it'd be really fun. So I mean, pretty much
270 AP with 300 DP or whatever your fucking wet dream hybrid build is.
I mean, I'm actually working towards it right now in KR. I finally got my gyro gear, so now I can work on the pin road race.
I can't believe how fast you fucking grind Ackman. It kind of pisses me off because I'm pretty sure you have lower AP than I do, and you kill it twice as fast as I do.
Oh yeah, because it's just because Lawn has a lot of, she's combo oriented, right? She's not like this raw damage person, so because of that, she has a lot of like down attacks and stuff, and she has like 2 floats and 2 DP debuffs. So if you like actually can, if you can, you know, try to get those floats off in Ackman because you can CC them, you get that extra air attack, which is more damage. Then you just spam your down attacks when they're on the ground, and they're on your high damage skills. So it's totally like just kind of this, everything kind of flows together to increase your damage, even though you don't have high percentage numbers in the.
So you're trying to tell me you're trying to float people in Node Wars?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. You're trying to float people in Node Wars.
Well, no, in Node Wars, I'm not like. There are times when I go for kills, but for the most part, I don't actually like go for kills per se. I try to be more like if I see like my Witch, Wizard, Ranger, DK struggling, I try and peel for them because in my mind, it's like if they stay alive longer, there's more AoE high damage going out, which should help our guild a lot more than me as a Lon going and killing like 2 people. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, you know, it's funny because like my gear is NKR. It's what I think I just hit 249, and I'm starting to hit like 20 plus kills, but it's against guilds that are like 250, 260 plus AP type gear. So when I hear people in NA and I hear people say, "Oh man, I'm like 250 AP or 260 AP, and I'm only getting like 5 kills in my Node Ward Lawn,
4 kills and in Siege with the strength."
It's like. Yeah, it's like there are times where I just kind of like maybe like I understand like Lawn is weak, but at the same time it's like maybe it's not necessarily like I don't want to be rude, but at the same time it's like maybe it's not always the class. Maybe it's just because of the positioning of what you're trying to do with the class that's getting your stats to be the way they are.
I think the most effective thing I've seen from Alon was during the Calpheon siege where Aftershock was in the front and we held against all those guilds and we were repairing and we had this lawn come in. They did some fucking weed whacker move where they just like routed around our base and interrupted. They flew into our base and just like turned on the fucking weed whacker and just went and just like interrupted everybody and then just flew out of the base. Or they died. Yep. Did it matter? Like it doesn't even matter. So I feel like Lawn has their spot.
Yeah, dude. So imagine if that Lawn, what if that Lawn was hybrid so they were able to actually live longer?
Stop with this hybrid shit.
Back off.
I'll get with you on the Lawn thing, but don't ever fucking say hybrid in my stream again. I swear to God. I don't care if every time I see a parentheses, I think of your name. Don't ever fucking say hybrid in my stream again. I swear to fucking God. You're wrong. I hate narc earrings. There's only one stat. Take your fucking hybrid shit to KR and shut the fuck up. Blue and I are friends. I'm being toxic. Right? I'm just fucking. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, so if you had a hybrid build, tell us how he'd kill everybody.
No, he won't kill. You won't kill, but you'll still be able to do some damage to structures while living longer. So you can like. It works really great on Sorg. I've seen this Sorg. He's like 250 AP, but he's like this. He's evasion stacked, but he has a ton of renown score, so he has a ton of DR, and he's just able to constantly go in and just disrupt any repairs, and it's really hard to catch. And when he does catch, I mean, he's pretty tanky compared to a regular Sorg, and at the same time, like he can, I mean,
Right,
The
so
sword.
I understand. Most people, if you get them on their back, right, the boys do the rest. Like that, as a grab class, I've always been a grab class in Siege. It's like, hey, I got somebody. Oh, he's dead as I put him down, right? It's kind of the same thing as like, I'm going to fly in and do my knockdown and float and hope I don't get hit.
Yeah.
I don't know how you play a class like that in this game, where just everybody's trying to fuck you all the time, especially as a red border.
It's fun.
Red border streamer. Fragile class. It's fun.
Actually, okay, so I know this is my last time I'll bring it up. One of my first guild wars, when I first came back, I said on stream, the first guild who invited me to their guild, I'll join, and it was Kyokai. One of my first node wars, actually.
No!
I got 40 plus kills. It was in a 1v2. We stalemated, but I got 40 plus kills on my lawn. Okay, get this. I only had 200 AP, but I had like my hybrid evasion build, and I got like 40 plus kills on my lawn against a guild who, what I was told, was like the two guilds we fought were like similarly built or similar gear as us. It can work.
You were told that they were closely geared to you. Could it have been like, I don't know, Black Rose, Vertex, everybody? Don't talk to me about it. Jesus fucking Christ.
That was actually my first ever time meeting you was in a Belano siege when I was merking for Kyokai.
Of course you were. How many pearls did you get? Don't answer
that. Good times. But yeah, it was a fun. You guys helped me to prove, like at the time, everyone and their mom were using Rosar offhand on the Ranger, and I was like, oh yeah, I got a Nuver, and then somebody instantly said in the guild, yeah, we have. I don't know if it was like Man Up or Snake Mercs, but we're like, we have Mercs from these high tier siege shield, and they said that you need to have a Rosar, otherwise you're not going to do well.
Why did you go to Kyokai?
Because I think you know why. But
Yikes!
Yeah,
Yikes!
Starts with a P, ends with the Earls. No, it actually starts with the Artisan, ends with the memes. But yeah, I did better than all. You helped me show them that, hey, you don't need Rosa. You can use the Nuber as a Ranger and do really well.
Also, you can run a guild without pearls.
But no, that was a long time ago. This time around, I just joined Kyokai because it was the first guild. But like, I'm good friends with some of the guys in there, so it's cool.
No, I'm sure there's good people in Kyokai, but
I know. That's how I felt again. That's how I felt towards Man Up when I first came back, because like I spent the first few months basically Man Up was enemy number one.
Well, the funniest thing of the whole Kyokai arc to me was Jackie Felix. He's this Reddit hero, and he would go on. He'd go, Aftershock is Aftershock's garbage. They had the fucking Zergus and all this shit. And then Kyokai, like, actually, before they took Balanos this week, like, they've been dead for, what, months, right? And so one of the first casualties was Jackie Felix coming to Aftershock, and it was like, okay, he's a good wizard. He's, you know, his gear's fine. It's on par. Like, cool. And then, like, 3 days later, they're like, J-Train, you don't go on Reddit, so I'm going to let you know that this is the guy that's posted every single shit-talking Reddit post about Aftershock from Kyokai for the past, like, forever.
I was curious about that, because I saw, like, I think I saw, like, a video where I was watching a siege or something. I don't remember where, but I saw them in Aftershock, and I was like, I remember having to deal with so many reports of this guy. Like, I'm pretty sure I've had to, like, delete some of his things as a mod on Reddit. I'm like, how is he in Aftershock?
So he's like, no, I'm not. That's not me anymore. I'm done with Reddit. I just want PvP. I would love to short call, all that kind of stuff. And man, I can't tell you, he has been he was the most tenacious, especially towards the end. Tenacious and welcome to criticism people I've ever met. He was just so open-minded. He was like, oh my God, I really did fuck up on that. Like, how can I get better? You know, this is what you did wrong. You're right. I did do that wrong. And so he went from like, just like, fuck Aftershock to, holy shit, I can learn something from these people, to one of the 2 people that followed me to Black Rose. There might be a third, but he actually got into Black Rose before I did. So
Oh, wow.
I guess I followed him. But he's been one of my closest officers and best friends throughout all this. And he annoyed the fuck out of me in the beginning, and we figured it out. But like that's kind of my Kyokai success story, is we kind of mutually bonded on on our discomfort with Witch Fairy.
Yeah, man. If it wasn't for me being this guild leader, I was pretty much planning on eventually going to Black Rose myself. I would have been with you.
It's fun, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
We're not recruiting. Nobody wants Alon, so you're in trouble there.
Okay, I'll just be a giant. I'll be a DP mystic.
DP.
Dude, those are nuts.
There's only one stat in this game.
DP.
And that's listening to Sasha's shot calls.
That's one of the biggest things I miss about Node Wars and Sieges, like when I was in Black Rose, was Sasha's. Because I was like for like a month, I was in, like, I started just to merc for them. And then like after that week, someone was like, hey, are you merking or are you going to stay? And I was like, well, I guess I'll stay. And I ended up staying for about a month.
It's been so weird, man. Not to hijack your podcast, but like going from the shot caller to the guy that has to listen to somebody else's shot calls. Like my biggest flaw last week was I listened to the shot calls too fast. Like I didn't wait for the witches and wizards to go in. I just like went the fuck in just right away. Just like, oh my god, the guild leader pinged. I have to go in because like that's what I've been preaching for 2 years. And if I did anything else, I'd be a fucking idiot. So
Dude, that's how I totally feel you there when because so like I said, so like right before I got banned, I was a guild leader and I was shot calling. And then when I joined, when I went to KR for the while, I was just in like this international guild. I was basically just nothing but live skillers and AFKers. But then I randomly like found the guild that I'm with now, these guys, I found them in Battle Arena. We're 2v2ing, and then they're like, hey, leave your guild, come join, and we can PvP. I was like, okay. And it was the same thing, you know, I'd see the guild ping, and I'd hear go in. I didn't understand, like, I was still kind of understanding the Korean language. I'd hear go in, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. And I'd go in, because I was a DP Mystic at the time, and I would go in, but then, like, I'd be like, wait, where's everybody else? And then I start hearing, like, them counting. I'm like, oh, shit. And then I hear PA. So I turn around, I see them PAing still, and I'm like, oh, I went in just a little too early.
Yeah.
And it was always it's a learning experience.
Well, you know, I did some other stuff that was wrong. Like, Black Rose watched my VOD. They're like, this is what you did wrong. You need to do this. And so, you know, I worked on all that shit. But it's been such a different experience. You know, I told the guys, you know, there's people that ask me about, you know, leading a siege guild and stuff. I go, you know, I could be in a better guild, and I understand that. But, like, there's nothing like your own command. You know, when I didn't do my own interviews, and the people, I didn't even know this was a thing. People that interviewed, people that joined Aftershock, I don't like being called Tim. Tim's not my real name. J-Train is the name that I'd like to go by on the internet. And so they would tell people, I didn't say it, like, this wasn't like a, everybody must do this. They'd just be like, oh, by the way, call Tim Allen J-Train. And so everybody in my guild would call me J-Train. And I didn't even think about it. It was just like, oh, him and I have talked. We're cool. Everything's fine. You know, so there's just nothing like having your own kind of culture, I guess. And so I think the reason I fit into Black Rose is I feel like Sasha has a better version, a more serious version of what I had going on. But like he still cares about his individual, like if you message him, he'll fucking talk to you forever in his car while he's going through the drive-thru, all that stuff. So I think that's pretty neat. But I don't think I would have fit in another guild. I know I kind of hijacked this for a little bit, but I've got a lot of emotions about what's been going on with me lately.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, Sasha's a wonderful person.
That's cool that you've been part of that, yeah.
I used to have to, basically I was kind of relearning how to fight witches, fighting Sasha, which is kind of hard to do because he had a lot more gear than me.
Yeah, I didn't fight him on the PvP test, so I don't know.
Yeah, I fought Sylvanas, the DK.
Yeah, I heard he wants to be officer. Inside joke. It's an inside joke.
Oh, okay.
Is there any last questions for our special guest Blue tonight?
I'll answer one really quick. Slanging Tacos, I'm at 30. We have like 35 people right now on the guild in today.
What's your target for that? What are you trying to do with your guild?
So I think it would be great to do like node wars and if we ever got stronger sieges, but like right now it's kind of like, you know, I kind of want to keep it pretty chill, and just if we get to the point where we can do node wars and stuff, because I mean the main rule, there's only two rules. One, no toxicity, kind of like serious toxicity, like fucking around is totally understandable, but just no toxicity, and then just the other one is just as long as you're constantly like aiming for progression, and that's all it is, right? So if we ever get like, it'd be really cool to see if we got to the point where we're doing node wars, and maybe if we ever got strong enough, maybe sieges. That'd be really cool to have like a little pug icon in one of the regions.
Nice,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, right now the target is just trying to revive the dead guild and maybe at least get to start node wars soon. Maybe that's the plan. But yeah, I enjoy KR a lot more just because there's a lot more PvP happening, and just it's a lot more of a challenge because of the fact that they have a lot more gear. So when I do go to Battle Arena, it's never like a sense of, oh, I think I have more gear than this guy. It's like I'm at 249 AP and I know for a fact that I don't have as much gear as any of the guys in there. So like for me, like me having to fight somebody and I have to get 3 CCs off to kill them, and then they only can kill me in 1 CC. I just feel like it's more of a challenge and it's a lot more fun. I mean, obviously it's tilting at times, but at the same time, it's just, in my opinion, it's just a lot more fun when I have like that kind of a challenge where I have to get multiple CCs instead of just 1 CC and they're dead.
There you go. You just recruited a Musa.
Oh shit, dude. Yo, PM me on Twitch. I got you.
WTFBloo. There you go. All right, man. Thank you so much for all the time. Let's call it a night. It's been a pleasure to get to know you personally through our mutual connection on World Best Gaming. So learning from you and connecting with you has been great. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I've been super curious ever since I've talked to you at the first time to be like, holy fuck, I want to know this guy's story, especially since I've been getting connected with Cacao and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for taking the time. I'm going to upload this to YouTube right away. We can spread it all around if you want to link it or have your own upload to it, whatever you want to do. But thanks for taking the time. If you have any last words, otherwise we'll call it a night.
Yeah, no, thank you for, I mean, it was actually a huge honor when you, like, cause I know originally you asked me, but you were on stream and I wasn't sure if you were kidding or not, but it's actually like, I feel really honored to be able to be on the podcast. Cause I mean, it just means that you at least have, like, you kind of at least think of me as a staple in the community, which I
yeah, every time I open my inventory, man, are you kidding me? The bad boy of BDO Blue himself, baby. All right, dude, have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Thanks,
Hashtag
man.
WBG up.
WBG up. Hell yeah.
Later, man. Have a good one.
See you, man.